I do appreciate you having you on. That's cool.
Absolutely.
It was kind of a last minute thing. I know always trying to get these going a little bit in advance, but last minute's my specialty. So
I operate by the last hour. That's how I function.
At least we can relate on that then.
Yep, absolutely.
Let's see. Are you hearing that over and over again?
Yeah, echo.
Interesting. What is?
It's like a movie.
Yeah, it just keeps going and going. I do have a poor connection with you. We'll resume when the connection improves. Holy smokes, what is that?
That's crazy.
Do you have any headphones or anything? I think it might be what it is. I'm not sure.
I don't. I'm on my laptop. I could switch over to my phone.
Might see if that helps. Maybe. I don't really know. That's interesting.
See.
So yeah, let me end this and try call me back on your phone. What's up, guys? How's everybody doing? A couple of technical difficulties here. We had it squared away and everything was working fine, and then inception of the year happened. Like everything's like playing back over and over and over again. That's kind of wild. I don't know what the deal with that is. Properties, headset. We will get it squared away though. Let me. Oh, I never thought about that. Yeah. Gio might be right. Just turn the laptop. Oh, I better know what it is. He got cut in less than 2 minutes. Yeah. Get that guy out of here. Let's go. We'll call him back, though. We'll get him on here. There's lots of questions you guys want to answer tonight. We got to make sure we get those answered. Let me get those pulled up, actually. Maybe. How's this always happen? Everything is going well, and then when, hey.
See if this works any better.
Well, I can't hear me. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
Okay, cool. So I didn't even think about it. Somebody mentioned maybe turning your laptop speakers down, but I mean, it's too late now. We're already on here.
Oh, well, shoot. Maybe that's...
Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Hold on. Because... Let me just try something here real quick. I can hear you on my laptop, too.
Oh, you had the video pulled up. Okay. Inception of the year happened. Like everything's like playing back over and over and over again. So did you have the broadcast pulled up on your laptop?
Yeah.
That's what it was. Okay, I didn't know that. It's all good.
Oh, yeah.
So we can stick with this, or we can switch back to the laptop and you can mute that. I assume you're wanting to watch the chat.
Yeah, let's push back to the laptop.
Okay, yeah, that's good.
Do I just need to close the YouTube out?
Either that or you can just mute it. Just mute it with the that way you can still keep an eye on the chat and everything. I'll hang up here and let you get back to your computer.
All right, man.
All right. Guys, we're doing it. We got it. We promise. We got this under control. Plus, it just gives you more time to fire away questions for the one and only Leaf Nimmo. Hey.
Check it out. Third time's a charm.
We got her going now. I didn't even think about that either. But we got it squared away.
Well,
here we are.
What? You learn something new every day, they say.
That's right. All right, so here we are. Let's see, season 9, episode number 1. We're kicking off 2024. with the first episode of the podcast here with the one leaf demo. They say the second best looking man in softball to step in the left-handed batter's box besides Ross Hubner. He's obviously a jack of many trades. He can hit from both sides of the plate.
Except it seems like you froze.
Oh, no. Can you hear me?
Shoot.
Can you hear me? Check, check, check.
Check, check.
Yeah. Here we go. Try this again.
All right.
All right, here we go. So I do want to thank you for coming on the show here. I know it's kind of last minute. We were talking about that before we went live here. I'm kind of a last minute guy. Anybody that hits BP will tell you that. I'm like, if we're hitting at 4 o'clock, I'm usually rolling in at either 3:59 or 4:01. I wait on the last minute for everything. So this will work out good. Obviously everybody's going to want to know about, the switch from Anarchy to Monsta, but should we cover that now, or you want to wait a little bit and get some other stuff going first? It's completely up to you.
Can't give them all that right out the gate, man. I think first of all, what we got to say is, what's up, mother truckers?
Yeah, hey, that's right. Let's go. How did I forget? This is my show, and I forgot.
This episode is brought to you by antacids because, well, I ate too much.
What was on the dinner plate tonight? What did we do?
Eating hibachi.
Oh,
you can't go eat hibachi and not eat too much.
Yeah, I mean that's part of it. I think it's the rules. Actually, it's on the sign on the door. I think.
Making full on dad noises, man, crazy.
But I mean, you got your money's worth, right?
100% and some.
Yeah. So, could you hear my intro there earlier, or were we disconnected for that? Can you hear me now?
I think it was we had frozen face going on.
Yeah. So anyway, so I had to throw this out there real quick because I wanted to get a rise out of you. So everybody was saying, introduction to Leaf Nimmo and everything. Guy he can hit it from both sides of the plate. He's been representing all these other companies all over the years. They say he's the second best looking man to step in a left-handed batter's box besides Ross Hubner. I mean, he can basically do it all.
You know what? I'll take that as a high compliment.
Ross said it if I had to take a jab in there.
Ross is my brother from another mother. It is crazy. It's crazy. It's a total God thing. I got to play with him in 2015, and we were roommates the first weekend. And just the similarities, like he bats left-handed and throws right-handed. Most of the time I bat right-handed. I throw left-handed. Just all these goofy things. He's like goofy, both Jordan sneakerheads, like all these things. And we look scary similar. It's weird.
Yeah.
In fact, we were at the Smoky in 2018 and we took a picture together. We were all bearded up and whatnot. And I did that time fast forward app where you gray yourself out. And I said, look, when we're like 78 years old, we're still going to look alike.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Dude, Ross cracks me.
Dude, man.
Yeah, he's a good guy. I've known him for quite a while. We've had him on the channel a couple of different times. And I've known him quite a bit. Man, it's been at least 5 or 6 years. He was, back in the Boomba days and everything.
Yep.
So he's been around a little bit, but he's been good to have in the back pocket. I always like bouncing stuff off of him. He's always got something to say about everything too.
Smart dude.
Yeah.
Smart dude.
For sure.
Big Michigan fan too, so I'm sure he's happy with what's going on there.
Well, you know what? We'll let him have his moment. It's neither here nor there. So real quick, let's talk about this left and right-handed batter's box thing. Like, what did you start originally? So for those that don't know, you can stick it from both sides of the plate. Obviously, you stick to right-handed when it comes to like competitive play. But like, when did you realize you could hit left-handed? Was it just kind of something you just picked up, or?
Well, it's kind of a long story, so I'll shorten it. I didn't really have a baseball background.
Okay.
I played a little bit of city ball, if you will, but I wasn't good enough to play baseball. And I didn't have the fundamentals or the coaching that a lot of these kids have. So I'm naturally a left-handed player. Mm-hmm. But I grew up watching my uncle play softball, and everybody was right-handed. So naturally, I just thought you were supposed to bat right-handed.
Right.
That's how you play. And I went all through school and, playing city ball or what have you. And it wasn't until I started playing softball one day, and I just, for whatever reason, decided to stand on the left side of the plate, and it was really free. It was like if I connect, good things are gonna happen because my hips swivel better. It's natural. But because I played so much softball right-handed, I never was confident enough to just stand on the left side like competitively.
Sure.
Because the defenses are way better, pitching's way better. But I think it was about 15, 16. I started playing a lot left-handed, especially if I wanted to play the game. I had a better chance at slapping it down or poking it backside. And back when I could sort of run fast, you get down a line. But I even played in the major one year left-handed. But I never really gave myself a real like season under my belt over there. I farted around in league and whatnot and what have you. But when you're facing like the best of the best and the defenses are the best and every at bat matters, I don't want to go out there and do something to hurt my team because I want to see if I can do it.
Yeah, right. It's a bad time for an experiment.
Yeah, home run derbies, BP, whatever. I used to honestly, I would make a living slapping the ball down the third baseline and watching the third baseman fumble it, trying to throw me out. But like I said, Father Time caught up to me. I'm not fast anymore, so it doesn't work.
But I mean, it's kind of interesting to see, though. I mean, you still kind of what do the kids say? You kind of flex on them still these days sometimes. Kind of let them know you can still do it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. You know what? I mean, golly, the kids are so talented these days. You see these kids that are younger and younger. They got more pop than ever. They're more athletic, man. I'm telling you, it is crazy. So it's fun to get out there and mix it up with the young guys and show them I still got it. But that's the end of it, right? It's time to go out there and play defense or running the ball down in the outfield. Oh, you guys go do that. I've done my time.
You're gonna let them take care of that part.
So yeah, I'm even done with the whole pitching experiment. I thought I wanted to pitch there for a while. I had a few screws loose, but I realized that's way overrated too.
See, so I wondered about that. I was I was watching, what was it? I was watching or looking through some clips of something, and like I noticed you were on the mound. Like how long was that stint? How long did that last? Like did I miss that somewhere? I guess I thought I followed the conference somewhat closely.
Things freezing on us again.
Connection.
Technology, don't fail us now.
No, you'll be back. It's like I need to run ads when this happens.
Come back.
You there?
I'm here now.
Hey, there you go. All right. So yeah, you're out in the boonies. You got that boonies internet going, huh?
It's got to be me, man.
So you out in the sticks. I got
that Elon Musk, it's not working very well.
Oh, you need the satellites to go by your backyard real quick.
Yeah. Come on, Elon, you better.
So what kind of got you into slow pitch? Obviously, I guess it sounds like you said your uncle was playing. Is that kind of how you got into the slow pitch thing? I mean, you said you didn't have much of a baseball background. How'd you find yourself at the field?
No, it's actually a way crazier story than that.
I like this.
I started playing back in the Pinger days. This is when you could walk in the academy and buy a Supercell EST or a DeMarini double. Well, those were the bats to have. I played, I don't know, I was young 20s, started playing with Discount Tire Company League Night team. And when they asked me to go play in the state tournament, I was like, hold on, what do you mean a state tournament? And they were like, well, yeah, it's state. We go play in a tournament and you play till you lose 2 games. I'm like, my mind was blown. Like, wait a minute. You mean we can go play softball for more than 1 game a night? And they were like, yeah. And I was like, well, here's the problem. And it's like, what's that? I said, well, I'm going to have to find a new job because I'd rather play softball than sling tires on a Saturday. And so
that's pretty
much what happened. Yeah. Started playing softball on the weekends I started off in the E's and the D's and whatnot, but I was the knucklehead outfielder that would never hit the cutoff and wanted to show my arm off all the time. And it didn't take long, especially throwing a softball.
Sure.
I blew that shoulder right on off. And so I had a rotator surgery at age 25, I think it was. And I was going to school and I come out of school one day looking for my car. My car was gone. It dawned on me that my car got ripped off. So the only thing I cared about was my softball bag and the bats in the back. I could care less about the car, the wheels, the radio, or what have you. And when they finally found my car, I took it as an omen that I was done with school and I was done with softball because the 2 things I wanted the most was my cooler my softball bag, and they were both gone.
Oh,
That was the end
no.
of softball for me for forever, for like 8 years. And
Really?
then I randomly bumped into a guy on a Craigslist deal. I've always been a hustler, moving and shaking stuff.
Yeah.
Um, and at this time, I was in the sneaker industry. I was brokering big Jordan deals for a lot of high-end e-commerce sites.
Okay.
Behind the scenes. And so when I ran into this dude on a Craigslist deal, he had all this. His name's Ryan Harrelson. He had all this kinetic tape on his arm. I was like, dude, what did you do to your arm? Like, I play softball. And I was like, oh, I used to play softball. And he's like, well, you should come out and play. And so I was like, yeah, I should do that. And I showed up like 8 years. You guys, that's like I time traveled 8 years later.
Okay.
And I show up with my ball bag on my shoulder. I got my high top King Griffies on, and I pull out my old freaking DeMarini double wall, swing, and
ready for action.
We're playing. They're all people looking at me like, who the hell is this throwback? And we're playing in some like 250 tournament where you can hit it over the 250 fence, but you can't hit it over the big fence. And I'm pingering them out of the big fence, and I'm out.
Yeah,
I'm out for doing that.
Oh no.
I'm like, what the hell kind of softball are we playing here? And he's like, yeah, you got to keep it in. And so I was like, all right, whatever. And then they invited me to go hit BP with them a week later. I'm like, what do you mean BP? He's like, yeah, we take batting practice. So, what? Y'all take batting practice? Like, this is serious,
Yeah.
And so I showed up and again had my my double wall, and one of the guys hands me an Easton Synergy, like a black and red.
Easton Synergy. Yeah, one of the Helmers.
He says, try this. And so I grabbed it, and I kid you not, I hit one ball. It went kapow. The ball went a long ways. And I just dropped the bat. I was like, what are we doing here? He's like, well, this is what we swing now. And I was like, well, where do I get one? He's like, Plano Sporting Goods. At the time, that was the sporting goods store to go to. And so I took off, went and bought me a Mike and Freak Plus, first composite bat I ever bought.
Oh, hey, that's a solid play, though.
I was still playing like D&E ball, just trying to find my way. I was like 33 years old, so I'm getting a really late start at this point. And I started seeing something at the ballparks. Like, people were moving and shaking bats at the ballparks, buying and selling. And I'm like, well, these guys got to be getting their bats somewhere. You couldn't go to Academy and buy the good bats anymore.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I got the itch. I got back into it, but I was like, well, I want to play, and I don't like the way this buddy system's going. I don't like the fact that I can't hit home runs. So what do I got to do to build my own team? And that's how it all started for me. ASP was born shortly after that. I exited the sneaker game and rolled that into the bat hustle, and literally bought and sold bats at the ballpark, here and there, just to raise enough money to pay my own way to play. And eventually it turned into kind of like a hustle that turned into something huge in a hurry. Within like 2 to 3 years, ASP took off.
Man, that's what's up, though. I mean, that's a self-made kind of thing.
Was the way that I could give my brand, credibility. And so that was the whole pursuit and the chase, was to build a brand that would be credible, that could be a Dick's Sporting Goods on wheels, if you will. And then play a little softball in the meantime, which was a win-win situation. So that's the short version of the long story.
Well, see, and that's cool though. Like, I appreciate like the pride and like wanting to grow a brand and do it the right way. Like my dad and my brother, he's retired. My dad's retired now. My brother still owns his own business, and my dad worked for himself since I was a kid. So it's like the pride of like wanting to make sure you do that right. And like when ASP was, rolling it and doing it big time, like, man, it was the place to go a lot of times, and
yeah.
I feel like
the dirt, man. Holy smokes, we put some miles on the wheels. Hi, baby. You want to come in here and get this video? Come here. Come say hi to everybody.
Oh, there she is. Yeah. Hello.
Give me that.
Oh,
say hi. Say hi. Is that cool? You see yourself on the video? Yeah.
You wave? Wave to everybody.
Bats. Do you have bats?
Yeah.
Say hi to the crowd.
Are you gonna play co-ed?
My name's Riley.
You got a Riley? I got a Riley.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay, go with Sissy, okay?
Here. Hey, tell all your friends to subscribe, okay?
I don't know how to put the connection on, so I tried my best. All right, thank you. I'll be with you in a minute. Right. Unless you want to get on here. Oh, you want to say hi to the crowd? This is Cambo.
Hi.
Hello.
Love too. All right. Yeah, that's my youngest too.
Bedtime winding down there, huh?
Yeah, sorry.
No, you're good.
Yeah,
I got the same thing going on the other side of the door. My wife's like I'm putting the kids in bed. It's like, give me everything I need out of there. So I
that's
get
right.
it. So I saw a question here in the chat that actually a really good one. So Adam wants to know what was your welcome to the conference moment?
Welcome to the conference moment.
Like what was your first exposure to that?
Let's see, man. I got to take it back a little bit.
You're really kind of dating yourself here.
Well, it's all right. It is what it is. You get to the point, you just quit caring, right?
You're right.
Honestly, my biggest like whoa moment or aha moment was just how fast the game was. Yeah, not in the sense of the duration of the game, because the games are freaking long, but how fast the game was. How fast once that ball was pitched and that ball's put in play, it's like everything's going 100 miles an hour.
Dude, it happens fast.
I mean, it is. Every ball's on you in a hurry. Every ball's hit with maximum velocity, and every player is running balls out. I mean, everybody's just going 100 miles an hour, yet the game's 2.5 hours. But that was the biggest aha moment. Is like there was no lack of hustle. There was no lack of effort. Like it was serious. If you got out, like dudes are freaking beating their bags up in dugouts. I'm like, God, what's going on here?
Yeah.
I didn't realize like what all was on the line, how much money was on the line, how much money these sponsors were putting out there, and guys get cut.
Yeah.
One bad game, out of there, right? So there's a ton of pressure. And here I am thinking like softball's supposed to be fun. That's supposed to be an escape and an outlet, away from the real life pressure. And these guys, man, swear you'd have to take their freaking shoestrings out if things didn't go well. But again, once I got to understand the dynamic and what all went into it, I was like, oh, okay, well, there's $250,000 invested in that team. I can see where the pressure's coming from.
Right. So how long did you play before you made it to that level?
Oh man, I'll tell you what, I had to claw my way through it all, because when I started playing, I sponsored. ASP was Mike and Mafia the first conference season, and I brought in Tim Barnes as my coach. And
okay.
Tim Barnes, obviously, he's made a name for himself now, but he was a guy that he was the perfect fit for what we were trying to do. A bunch of young guys out of Texas that he didn't mind holding accountable, and I didn't mind him holding me accountable, because I didn't want to be treated as the sponsor player. I wanted to be the player that earned my way onto the field. And if I out-recruited myself off the field because I wanted to win, then I had to bid my time off the bench. And so I spent many years doing just that, just coming off the bench or being a utility guy or, just bidding my time. And it wasn't until 2016 that I actually got my shot with Extreme. I backed that up. 2015, I got a shot with a CA team that folded, and then I joined the other CA team, Compound Athletics. That's where Ross and I hit it off. And
okay.
CA team folded. I brought a guy named Kyle Pearson. You might have heard of that guy.
Yeah.
Justin Stewart and we brought a bunch of talent over to that team that year. We took second at the B, but that was my first year, like making it. 2014 was a B&B team I finished with. I can't even remember who I started with that year, but 2015 was like my first year on, like, I will call it on the scene. Like, my name was starting to get known.
Sure.
And then it was a wrap from there. 2016 to 17 with Extreme. 2017 we won the AA. Nobody gave us a shot, and we were the team that never made it to Sunday all season, but showed up on that one Sunday that mattered.
That's kind of what's up, though. It's about getting hot at the right time.
I love it, man. It's all, listen, it ain't how you start, it's how you finish.
So. You're right. So, you talk about Kyle Pearson, like kind of back in the day, right? So like you obviously you saw him when he first hit the scene. Like, what was your first thoughts, like seeing him like operate, we'll say?
The kid's so freaking intelligent when it comes to the game, and he learned it at such a young age. That's what's the most impressive. And I'll tell you what, my favorite Kyle Pearson story was 2014. He was with Buzzini. We're trying to claw our way into the major. That's what it was. I was with ASP Dynasty. So a bunch of us from ASP and a bunch of the guys from Dynasty, a Georgia team that J-Mag was a part of back then. We had merged our teams together, a Texas team and a Georgia team, and we were good. Like, we should have won the B, hands down. Wouldn't have mattered. But we were so fixed on making the major that we forgot the ultimate goal was to win the B.
Whoops.
And our team ended up busting up at the Smoky that year. So I finished with a B&B team that year. But the tournament we were trying to get into was at the Cajun. That was Bouzini's backyard, and Kyle Pearson's hitting like 801 for the season. It's like his second year. Okay?
Yeah.
Second year in the conference. And he's coming up the bat. I'm catching, and I'm in his ear, dude. I'm like, man, you making out here. There goes your 801. You know, like, what are you doing? And he gets up there, and he freaking hits a ball 400 feet, and he turns around, he looks at me, and he says, I don't want anybody to think it's a fluke. Said,
Oh, my God. Wow.
Teaching me a lesson, right?
Yeah.
Like, you bet on yourself, you know, and you go out there and you put it all on the line. And if you do it, you do it. And if you don't, you don't. But it ain't because you took a playoff, you know. And he earned my respect like tremendously there. He taught me a very valuable lesson. I took that same mentality with me going forward. And there were seasons where I had a great season. I had a great season for me was a 700 season, not because I'm not as good as some of those guys. But, you know, if it came down to that last at bat, I was going to take it because, I mean, if I took an at bat off or if I took a game off, then did I really accomplish whatever it was I set out to accomplish? And was I really helping my team by sitting myself because I wanted to hit a personal number?
Sure.
And to see a kid that's 25 years old to be able to have that thought process and mentality, it was amazing. And obviously, I mean, just watching him hit, dude, he is freaking good.
It's
like,
wild.
He's going to be good for a long time to come. Yeah. But what people don't understand is how good he can play the game. Of course, he can whack it. I mean, he can hit it a mile, but he can paint lines. He can poke holes, and Lord knows you don't want to be an infielder when he's hitting the ball down.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of a thing. Like he's, you know, obviously made a name for himself. One, cutting the ball, and two, hitting the ball extremely hard. But like you said, I feel like some people are kind of, you know, I won't say take away from the fact, but don't acknowledge the fact maybe sometimes. Like he'll take the swing that he has to sometimes. I mean, not the swing he wants to, but he will take the swing that he has to keep an inning alive or move a runner or something like that. It's
Absolutely.
not all about just hitting the ball as hard as he can every time he gets up there, which is impressive to be able to just kill it and then be able to switch back off and do, you know, hit the 4-hole one time if he needs to.
Yeah. And you look at where he's playing and who he's playing with and the talent that's around him. Everybody's got to be willing to do the right thing. And Brett holds those guys accountable. And you're right. Can't be afraid to make an out. And that's a guy that will go out there and give you 100%, but he'll do the right thing. He's never going to stand up there and pat a stat or pat a number. That's why I was so happy for him this year, winning the on-base percentage title, because he did it the right way. He went out there and he banged it and he battled through injuries. And I mean, this is going to be scary to say, but I don't think it's the last time we'll see that kind of a number out of him, to be honest with you.
I mean, the sky's the limit, really. I mean, you know, he's not getting worse. He's not to the point, age-wise, career-wise, anything that he's going to get worse. I mean, he's not there yet. Uh-oh.
Are you watching TV up there?
Yep.
Will you turn it off for a minute?
Yep.
I'm wondering if that's what's causing this signal interference.
All right.
I mean, got to get the Netflix in, bro.
Sure, what's going on here? Come on. Come on.
Right, we can, well, when this comes back, we will let him know we can still hear him, even when this happens here. Okay, there you are. So
there he is.
So
there he is.
So just so you know, we can still hear you when you that happens. We can still hear you. So keep talking.
Oh, keep going. Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know. Okay. Will y'all go back upstairs, please? I think what's happening is, thank you. It's going to be okay. Sissy will fix it. Go with Sissy. You got a starfish on your toe. We got this Elon Musk service here, and if there's too many devices pulling off of it, I'm afraid we get stretched bandwidth over here. So I'm gonna call Elon when we get off the phone here and file a formal complaint.
Yeah, let me know how that goes, would you?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, or I'm just gonna look up at all those little freaking things that look like stars that move around in the sky and figure out which ones are. Have you ever done that? Have you ever gone outside and looked up?
Oh, dude. So I live in a pretty rural area. Like, I don't know how familiar you are with like Missouri and shit. So there's like Columbia. It's a pretty good sized town. It's close to 100,000 people. And then from there's really nothing big until you get to like Kansas City or St. Louis. It's extremely rural. Like I live in a town of like 10,000 people, and then there's nothing for miles. So
10, 20 years ago, you could go out there and watch the stars, and the stars didn't move.
Yeah, right.
Now you watch the stars, there's a freaking traffic jam going on up there.
Dude.
freaking nuts, man.
But it's, everybody's rule. It's podunk. So you get like all these little Facebook pages of, the local stuff like, well, what's some things flying through the sky? Somebody's saying, it's always like, and then somebody says it's Elon Musk and it's like, I don't want his Teslas. It's like, dude, what? But it's kind of crazy, man. So, yeah,
funny.
Maybe see if you can send him an email, get him to slow down a little bit when they go by your
house. Hopefully we're dialed in here and we won't have any more service interruptions. But now that I know that you can still hear me, I'll just keep on rambling away.
Yeah. So let's see.
As soon as I said that, the screen froze again.
Yeah. So let me know when you can hear me.
We were talking about. There it is.
Yeah.
We were talking about KP and just how talented of a hitter he is and a good dude he is. But I also want to talk about him being a Christian and he's unafraid. And a lot of people don't know that he wears number 23 for his anchor verse, which is in Psalms. But he's just a good kid, man. And if we had more people like him in our sport, I think it would sure shine a better light in the sport of slow pitch.
Sure. I mean, he's a super good. I think you'd have to try really hard to find anybody to even make up a bad thing about him. I don't think anybody would want to.
The funny thing is that you can still hear me, but I don't know if you're talking, so it's awkward. So you might have to hear me in here. All right, here we go.
So so let me know. Yeah, so I said something there. I was like, the fact like you would have to try really hard to find somebody to say something bad about him, and even then, I feel like they probably made it up.
Yeah,
I've never seen anybody speak ill about that guy one time.
Right. Yeah. Well, you could be an opposing pitcher that he dotted one time. He might have something bad to say, but
yeah, that is one thing I wouldn't want to do.
I'll
is pitch
tell you
that
a story
guy.
about him. Chad Munger made the mistake of trying to show off to him one time. Chad Munger's one of the veterans of the game from years ago, but this is back in 2015 when KP was first coming up. He got on one knee and was going to basically had a strike on KP, so he thought he'd get on one knee. And when KP hit this ball, that little over the top chop that he does, he hit this dude square in his quad. I mean, when I say square, like the ball dropped right in front of him, and he picked it up and he threw KP out. But pitchers, they always share the pictures, right? And so the picture got around. Well, he had this huge welt like on the front of his quad, obviously where the ball hit him. But what was the most disgusting thing I had ever seen was his hamstring looked like somebody shot him with buckshot. Like it went through his leg. It like impelled and blew out.
Ooh,
like the hamstring area.
All the bruise went around the back of his leg.
Like he got hit with a hollow point or something.
Oh man, that's bad.
I was like, oh my gosh.
So
same guy that I put on a tee hitting at people and got 32 million views. Let's not forget about that either.
Dude, that was wild too, by the way. What brought that idea on?
That's just some of my creative thinking that it's a good idea to let people run for their lives while Kyle Pearson hits softballs at him for a bat. But I mean, the goal was, and I got to be honest, I put helmets on everybody. You can't really see it from the angle, but it's like, how can I make a softball, home run derby better? Well, we'll have the halftime show, of course. Do that. And so every year it kind of evolved into something new, and hopefully we'll bring it back this year, but just knock on wood, nobody's been seriously hurt, but it made for a heck of a show.
So watching the guys, it's almost more comical, like watching an adult in a helmet, because the adults don't wear helmets anymore.
Correct.
So it's almost funnier to see them in the helmet out there running for their life.
I seen John King's put a post up about when are they going to make guys wear helmets playing slow pitch softball, and I'm like, what? But I guess people get hit in the head. The guy from third base, airmails one. I've seen it happen. Guy gets freaking hit in the face.
For sure.
I don't know. Maybe you put your arm up. I don't know, man. I think we start putting helmets on guys playing slow pitch softball, we're really going to make the sport worse than it's already gotten. I hate to say it, but our sport's in trouble right now, and we need to make softball great again. We need more participation. We need more events.
So okay, so let's discuss that. So I maybe have you discussed that before, that you feel like we're kind of in a bad spot?
Yeah, no, and I see it because obviously I'm on the manufacturer side. So
sure,
when your participation is down, your sales are down, and our sales across the board, across the entire industry, people say whatever they want. The numbers are down. It's more competitive than it's ever been in the bat industry, right? Because you have way more people.
Oh yeah,
bat companies now. It's like bat companies became uniform companies of 5 years ago, right? When
Right.
every Pakistan company decided to email and message every single person
Oh,
you've ever done business with, and made it possible for everybody to be a uniform company. And now it's gotten that way with the bat companies, and it's made it really competitive and really hard. But the 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 double edged sword of this whole conundrum is that participation is down. And
mm-hmm.
so when you look at events and tournaments that used to carry 100 teams, 100 plus teams, they're down, 30, 40, 50% in some regions. And it starts at the league level. If you go look at your league nights, used to you'd have all your fields going. Now you got half your fields going. You got, 2 hours of league night instead of 4 hours of league night, and so on. And so, when your league night participation is down, which that's what feeds your tournament participation, when all those numbers are down, then inevitably it just puts a hit on the sport itself. And it's not about just dollars, dollars and cents. I mean, obviously you want to sell product and make money, but the sport itself is on the decline.
Sure.
And it's kind of a scary thought. And I think it's to do with the next generation too, right? Like we got to generate, whatever you call it, generation, whatever. I don't keep up with that.
Yeah.
Or whatever you want to call it. The gamer generation, right? The people that grew up in participation award atmospheres, and so people would rather go play Fortnite than come outside and be competitive in a sport and compete. It's just strange. It's a strange time we're living in.
So I think it's definitely partly that, and I think the other side of it too is every kid plays like travel ball from the age they can swing a bat. So by the time they're 19 or 20 years old, they're like, dude, I've been playing for 15 years. I'm tired of this. I also think that's part of it too. And it's nothing necessarily, you probably can't hear me, can you?
There you are.
Okay. So what I was saying was, I feel like, did you lose me again?
No, I'm good.
Okay. So what I kind of feel like part of it too is like, kids playing travel ball from the second they can pick a bat up. And they get, you're talking 7 or 8 years old. You got these kids starting to play travel ball. By the time they're 19 or 20, they've been playing ball for 15 years. Maybe they're tired of it. I mean, I feel like that is probably part of it too. At least that's what I see from here. Your travel ball is really big here. And, you got the travel ball being a really big thing. And then you got kids that I've even seen kids that'll quit playing high school baseball because they're like, oh, I'm tired of this. I'm done with it. So you're not going to get those kids to show up in a slow pitch field. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they're burnout, and these parents are living vicariously through their kids instead of letting their kids be kids. And I understand getting your kids involved in things, but your kids should have a little bit of a say so too, because when you're made to do something that you don't want to do, or maybe you don't want to do all the time, you're going to resent it. You're not going to enjoy it.
Right.
There's very few kids out there that are like diehard athletes and want to get better. Most kids just want to freaking do what the rest of the kids are doing. And so I think it's a balance, right? There's a happy balance. You see some of these freaking kids these days, they're just handed a tablet and told to leave them alone. And it's like, dang.
I can definitely agree with that.
That's another podcast for another day.
Yeah, you're not going to get me started on that one. And like I will admit, like I do play my fair share of video games, and in the summertime, you don't find me doing that a whole lot. I feel like there's there's got to be a balance there somewhere, and I don't feel like there's much of it. But we're getting off onto a whole different whole different realm of things there. Like you said, it's a whole different podcast. Let's get the car back on the road here. Let's go through a couple of questions, and we're going to dive into the big one here that everybody's probably here for. So we have Michael on Facebook wants to know, when are you bringing the long haul bomber tour back?
Man, that was a great show. I've actually got a better idea. Believe it or not. I mean, the long haul tour was great. It was really cool to watch, and I even got to participate in a couple of them. But there's no ROI in that. I mean, there's just a ton of spend, and it's expensive, right? So you really can't justify that spend. However, this goes back to my whole making softball great again. A road tour, if you will. And I'll share this idea with anybody that wants to contribute and participate. But if you started a road tour that started on the West Coast and mapped out different places across the country, and you made your way all the way to the East Coast and up to the North and back to the West with stops in between, and then you'd have different players fly in and fly out of different venues. You show up at a league night unannounced and just boom, roll out this whole enormous bus full of freaking greatness and softball and who knows. And you show up at some of the Carney events, the big, the big events, the big amount of people and turnout, and just make a spectacle, make a road show out of this thing, right?
Yeah.
And then it becomes something that everybody's looking. When are they coming to town? The Harlem Globetrotters of softball, if you will,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Make a freaking show out of it. Have a a home run derby type thing, and then compete against the pros of the tour, what have you. Bring your best. Anybody and everybody's welcome. You show up with your best 12. We'll show up with our best 12, and let's bang it out, and we'll have beer afterwards.
Yeah.
Something on that scale. That's what it's going to take to draw buzz and energy around our sport again, in my opinion.
Yeah, I like that idea, especially from the fact that like it's a relatable thing, right? You're sharing the field with the guy. You're not sitting in the stands, 400 feet away from him watching him hit. You're sharing the field with that person, which means you're sharing the field with all those people that represent brands, and that could also help the brand too, right?
Laptop.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Yep.
You there?
It's like I want to move around and find the spot and then freeze.
So anyway, yeah. So what I was saying was that would be good for the brand too to do it that way, like right, because you're out there on the field with the players. It's relatable. Every player that's representing a brand is now like you can touch, you can talk to, you can see this person instead of sitting 400 feet away from them watching them hit balls over your head.
That is the biggest, the most important thing that I could speak on when it comes to grassroots marketing is having people that are approachable and that are willing to mix and mingle with the players that follow them. That's probably the one knock I can say on some of the conference guys is that they don't go out of their way enough. I mean, I understand that you play at the highest level, but it's not saying that you have a responsibility, but you kind of do to give back.
Sure.
These people look up to you, they follow you, they're trying to emulate your game, emulate your swing, all those things. And so when these guys are approaching you, and I get it, you're tired, you just want to kind of be by yourself. Maybe you had a bad game, I don't know, but we got to give back. Like we got to make sure that, because we've been blessed. Every one of these guys have gotten to play at a level where their travel was paid for, their equipment's paid for, whatever the case be. They're endorsed, what have you. Like, you got to have people that feel like, the average Joe can walk up to Ryan Harvey and feel, like, hey, that guy puts his pants on the same way that I do. And Ryan
Right.
Harvey's a good example of that.
Right.
Humble, we're talking 6th overall draft pick in the bigs at one point, 5th or 6th. And, you never know that about him because he's humble, and he's willing to mix it up with anybody. And I think that's the biggest thing we're missing right now is giving back to our sport.
Sure. And that's like, it's so great to have the players like that too. Like, Kevin Bazat lives a half hour from me. You catch him at the ball field sometimes. You get that guy a beer and he will talk your fucking ear off. So it's like.
That's right. A lot of those guys want to tell their story. They want to talk to people. And because, a few, big time guys had their, egos were too big for themselves that, they got a bad rap. Right. And
sure.
So it's intimidating. I remember the first time I met Jeff Hall, I'm like, this guy's a freaking statue of a man. And I'm, just getting into this thing, but heck, I'm going to walk up to him and give it a whirl and see if I can, have a conversation with him about the game and whatnot. And Jeff was a guy that you could approach and talk to, but some guys aren't. Some guys are pretty standoffish. And, if one guy has a bad experience like that, they're like, screw this upper softball thing ain't all it's cracked up to be. Those guys are a bunch of, whatever you want to call them. And it puts a bad taste in people's mouth for upper softball.
Sure. And I feel like that's one thing you do. You yourself do a good job of. We kind of talked about this earlier, or when I was doing the intro thing. Is like be an ambassador of the game, the brand, whatever. You've always done a good job of that. No matter what brand you're representing, no matter what company you're representing, you always try to be an ambassador. You are relatable. You're somebody that somebody feels like they could reach out to because you're outgoing. Like the game definitely needs more of that. Don't be bigger than the game.
Absolutely. And you got to be better for the game than you are at the game, especially when it comes to marketing and promoting. I was very fortunate. I was mentored by Brett Helmer and Mike Cornell, two guys that are legends in the game, taught me how to chew the dirt, taught me how to go about carrying myself. And I never got too big for myself. And the thing about it was I had a lot of success on the sales side of things and the marketing and the ASP and all that stuff. But I was taught early on that, being humble and there's just a way to go about things that, if you're relatable and you can if you can come down to people's level, right? It doesn't matter how
Yes.
successful you are.
Yep.
If they feel like, you know what, this guy hasn't changed, he's still the same old guy that he was 10 years ago when I bought my first bat from him, man, you'll have such sustainability in the marketplace and credibility behind your name. But more importantly, it's just good for, like I said, I go back, you got to be good for softball more than good at softball. Because at some point, Father Time is going to catch up to you, and you won't be as good as you once were. But you can continue to be great for the game well beyond your years of playing if you'll just handle it the right way and just take what's been blessed upon you and respect and honor that. And man, you can go for years if you want. But again, I was blessed and taught the right way, and hopefully I can pass that torch along too. As a, you know, getting older in my years, I thought I was on my way out the door, and another opportunity came about, and so maybe I'm leading us into that conversation. But if there's any other questions we need to answer before we get there, we'll do
Hey,
that.
well, I'll tell you what. Let's take it. You know what? Forget those other questions. You brought it up. Let's talk about it. So you were with Anarchy for what? 3 years, right?
3 years. Yep.
Yeah, 3 years. And I mean, man, they were a good brand anyway. And you took a good thing and made it into, pardon my French at home, but a fucking great thing. So, like with transition companies and everything, one of the questions here is why the switch from Anarchy to Monsta. Curious on that process and how much involvement in product development will you be with Monsta?
Well, it's a great question. And before I answer that, I just got to say that I didn't do it all alone over there at Anarchy. I did have support. I enjoyed working with those guys. They're a true, started from the bottom story. I love that because that was my story. It's been my story on multiple different business platforms. Um, and the engineer behind the scenes, Kevin Lanyon, he and I really formed a really good bond. Jason Glass as well. All the owners over there, Michael Lorch, Chad Dearborn, and even with Rick's passing, was a partner within the company. I enjoyed working with all those guys, but it was a tough deal, man. I mean, because they had great ASA bats, but the U trip and the senior was non-existent for the most part. So we busted knuckles quickly to bring something to the mix. And the HyperX Tech that we brought was just that. I mean, it was a rocket launcher out of the gate, but there was a lot of R&D and a lot of time back and forth between Kevin and I trying to like find that happy, recipe of performance and durability and then design, right? So, and it's interesting too, because I love two things I love about this industry or working in it is R&D. I love being hands-on, touching,
Yeah.
feeling, feedback, this felt like this looked like that. But and then the design piece too. Like I love the design, the creative design. And then my designs aren't for everybody. I'm outside the box thinker. I'm a little bit different. So I think we had a lot of people that loved the evolution of the brand and the new mark and the logo. And there was a few people that, it didn't quite appease them, and that's okay.
You can't make everybody happy.
You're never going to make everybody happy, but all in all, I mean, I enjoyed my time there. It wasn't a bad thing. Why the switch? My contract came due. I did a 3-year deal with Anarchy. We did some awesome things. We had some awesome accomplishments. We won an A World and a double A with the women's team. We had our male and female athletes, and Brandon Streets and Tyler Celestine win the batting title in 2022. Like we did some really cool things. And so, I'm like, it was awesome. And my contract came to an end, and Monsta and Carl made me an offer that I had to say yes to. And that's it. I know everybody's looking for a juicy story, and that's probably what people want to hear.
Yeah.
But the reality of it is there are situations in industries where it's a good thing for both sides. And there is a good story or a good ending, and things don't have to be what. But ultimately, I wish those guys all the best as they, did the same for me. And I mean, yeah, we're going to be competing in the marketplace, but it's I don't have my crosshairs fixed on them or anybody else in the industry. I have a new opportunity and a challenge to take a company that's already well established in
Mm-hmm.
ASA, is getting ready to make some noise in U Trip and senior and in fast pitch, and baseball's around the corner. So the growth curve potential for me to be on the tip of the spear of all this. And I can't say a whole lot about what's coming, but I will say this: the mad scientist that is Carl, has got some really cool stuff. I got to be really careful with what I say here. I'm going to say that I've never witnessed more advancement and evolution in technology than I witnessed when I visited. And I'm going to leave it at that.
Yeah, I do believe that. Um, obviously, if you don't have to live under a rock to probably understand that. I wouldn't necessarily say he and I personally, but like my audience, it meant necessarily me and his audience in his group in general, maybe haven't always seen eye to eye. Like I can completely admit that, but like I'll always respect like the guy just he doesn't settle for performance. He's constantly working on something new that like just when you think they don't get any better, they get better. So he is an innovator. He's an engineer.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. Could you hear me through that?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So he's an innovator. He's an engineer, and he's always tweaking and messing with stuff. And I feel like that's what it takes to stay at the top and remain relevant and competitive too.
Well, I'll tell you, there's a lot of people don't know this, but the level of integrity that he operates under is really impressive too. For example, they test every single bat before it leaves. Like they manually compression test every single bat, and if for some reason there's a bat that doesn't hit the spec, that doesn't hit the mark, he won't ship it.
Wow, I did not know that.
If a bat is 268 and 270, they won't ship it. They want every customer to have a product that will both perform and be durable and not have to, you know, go out there and hit their bat and 100 swings later complain about it, failing compression. They want every customer to have a product that is round and sound. And so they go through a great deal of what I call QC after the QC, right? So you got QC from the manufacturer side, then you got QC internally. So they spend a lot of time and effort into making sure each one of those bats is meeting the specs. So that's pretty unheard of in our industry.
Yeah. See, I did not know that. Like, obviously when it comes to like mass production, it's get them out the door as fast as possible, right? I mean, we've all seen it.
Yep. Yep.
No matter the industry, in being someone that works in production and stuff like that, like, man, sometimes just get it out the door. They do not care. But it's interesting to hear that like there's that much control over that. That's also going to make a consistent product too. And not only like you're talking like top end performance, but what you're getting if they're going to control it to that spec.
It's important to him that the brand and that customers have that experience, and that's something that maybe they haven't done a good enough job, or maybe they're too humble to tell that story. But it's something I'm going to be proud to roll out there and let people know. Like every one of your bats was hand touched and hand tested and hand packed and shipped, and it's just a level of service that you don't find anywhere else. And I look forward to telling that story and to showing people just how much goes into what they do over there.
Sure.
Carl's very private. He doesn't like people knowing what's going on behind the scenes, but I think that there's a very marketable story there, and people will appreciate just how much they do and how like they hand do all this stuff. It's not like they just get it in from the factory and call it done and put it in a box. Like I'm watching these guys literally hand assemble bats and test them and weigh them and make sure everything's to spec. And like I said, you just don't find that kind of service and quality control in the industry. So I think that's going to pay dividends in the long run, especially when people learn that. Like you just said, you never knew that. Well, and anybody who's watching the show probably didn't know that either.
Sure, and that's another reason why I feel like having someone of your stature is good for a brand. They're gonna say the things like that. Who would know that if it wasn't for you out here preaching that from the mountaintops. So like, what is your first big like? Everybody's got like a project or something like big like game changer they want to do. What's your first play?
It's interesting you asked me that because 3 years ago, I literally hit the ground running, trailblazed, and just kicked every door down. And like I ran with my freaking pants on fire just in a hurry. So, and it was daunting and it wore me out. But we did come with a good product, and I feel like we made some noise. This time, I'm going to really strategically put a game plan together with a team, a group of people, and we're going to come about this a complete different way. Like I said, Carl has got some amazing advancements in technology coming. So it just depends on what market we want to hit first and how we want to go about it. And each development will come with a marketing plan and a launch. So right now, I'm just really just kind of learning the company, looking at the things that they're doing really well, and then areas of deficiency, and seeing where I can assert myself. He wants me to just right now focus on the grassroots side of things, which that's what I'm great at, and
Yeah, absolutely.
the social media marketing and all that stuff. And then obviously, I mean, I wear a lot of hats, or I can wear a lot of hats. So where needed, if I have to step into a design piece, or if I have to do some R&D, whatever it is they need me to do, I'm qualified to do that. But right now, it's just about getting the brand in front of people, getting our bats in people's hands, and getting them to believe that Monsta's coming.
Sure.
2024.
So what is your favorite part of all of this? Is it the R&D? Is it making the connections? Is it kind of leading the projects? Like I envy you a lot. Just like, to be able to like constantly tweak stuff. I'm so fascinated with how stuff works. So to me, it's like constantly tweaking and changing stuff. Like I would lose myself in testing stuff or knowing I can make a change to something that might affect something else. I would absolutely lose myself in that. So like, what is your favorite part of all that?
I mean, it's a tough job. Somebody's got to do it. But honestly, I have to remind myself that I'm human, and there's only so much I can do before my body starts to fail and break down, because I'm the same way. Like one of the characteristics of ADD is ADHD, whatever you want to call it, is like overindulging in the things that are of interest to you.
Oh, dude, and my wife hates it.
You'll shelf things that are not of interest to you. You'll just shelf and put them off, procrastinate forever. Well, when it comes to R&D, like there's relentless pursuit of perfection when it comes to R&D on like what I'm doing. And if it's not perfect, then I will go back to the drawing board and back to the drawing board, back to the drawing board until it is absolutely like dialed. And then you got to replicate it and do it again, because anybody can get lucky once.
Yep.
It's the same routine. It's always two more. It's not one more, it's two more, because you can get lucky and do what you wanted to do once, but if you do it twice, now you're on to something, right? And so it's the same thing. It's just that relentless pursuit of perfection in R&D. And it's the same thing with design, which my wife's going to be really happy that I'm not going to be in the design chair, because there's many a nights where we were supposed to be wrapping it up for the night. I'll be to bed soon, Here we are hours later, and I'm just dialed because little nuances and imperfections and things, the way that they lay out. And then once I got pretty good at the AI side of things, and it's a new toy. It's a new illustrator.
What can I do with this?
Yeah. And next thing you know, you're wrapping vehicles in the middle of the night. Like, what the hell's going on here? How did I get here? But no, those are my favorite things to do. I mean, I love talking to people. I love working with people. Sometimes I am guilty of making myself too available, and so my phone will get annihilated, and then people get upset with me for not getting back to them. But if a simple screenshot of 1 million red dots on my phone usually puts that fire out. But some people don't.
And that drives me like up the wall is, hey man, so like somebody will send me a message and it's like, okay, like, so when it comes to whether it's my personal stuff or my YouTube stuff or my Facebook stuff, me leaving it unopened is my way of making sure I get back to it. Because if I open something and don't reply to it in the moment, forget about it. Like I will not get caught back up with it. So I will leave stuff closed.
It's so good. Plug my charger in.
Uh-oh.
Battery's getting low.
Hey, he's back. Maybe. Uh-oh. Lost him again.
Just so you know, you're frozen in time, but I'm plugging my laptop.
Here, let me know when you see me moving again. Hey, there it is.
Full disclosure, people, I take full responsibility for this lack of technology over here. Our bats may be really good, but my technology is lacking, and this is something I actually pay for, believe it or not. Elon, if you're listening.
I tell you what, hey, so we're talking about, how about we just let Carl email Elon? We'll let him handle this for you.
Yeah. He'll probably have a better getting something done. Maybe.
Yeah. Well, we could go with that for sure.
We were Carl and I were at the drag races a couple weeks ago. There was a Tesla that actually ran down the strip at like a 9 point something. I was like, holy smokes, those freaking things are really fast.
Yeah.
And it ended up being like the fastest on the strip the entire time until some freaking ridiculous hot rod beat it. But I was like, what's going on here? Why is a freaking battery powered car ripping down a freaking 9-second quarter mile? Like what's going on?
Dude, I mean, it's like, I'm kind of fascinated with the electric stuff. It's like, it's instant. I don't know how much of a car guy you are, but it's just like, it's instant torque. I mean, like the second you smash the pedal, it's everything it's got. It's got, I kind of dig it.
I love hot rods. I love gasoline. I love smelling like a freaking gas tank when I get out of my truck. I don't love anything about an electric. Somebody can freaking just turn the lights out on you. You'd be like, you know what? You're done. You're done. Pull your plug.
That is fair. I'll definitely give you that one. I don't know that I would want to own something electric, but like the fascination of like, it's different, right? Is definitely appealing to me. But yeah.
Have you watched that Netflix movie, Leave the World Behind? Have you watched that?
No, I have not. Is it pretty good?
You won't want anything to do with anything electric or off the grid or on the grid or any of that other stuff. Watch that movie, dude. It is nuts.
Are we starting conspiracy theories right here on the podcast?
It's happening. It just happened. Like I just boom. Like people are probably leaving the podcast right now to go dial the show up.
Oh, you could. Oh, come on.
It was produced by the Obamas, believe it or not, and it's freaking like it's an eyebrow. It will make you really think in a prepper type way, and you start looking at, well, I can't give all the stuff away, right? I can't tell it all, but
they're right.
It'll make you look at things differently. But there's a scene in there where Tesla's like, all of a sudden just freaking start doing weird things, and I'm like, yep, no shot.
Yeah. So real quick, we're squirrel here. Like, I could tell this could go on for hours and hours. So, we are talking about cars real quick. So
Welcome to my world.
So, Carl, I didn't share this like on my softball stuff or nothing like that. Somehow, Facebook's always like suggesting things to you, right? It's got its way of like knowing what you're into. So I'm scrolling through these pages and I come across this, I don't even remember what the name of the group was, but it was Carl and he had these Buick V6s and he had the twin torque storm superchargers on the V6. Like, did you see any of his car collection stuff while you met up with him? Have you been out there and seen any of that?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Yeah, he picked me up in the airport in a freaking 1,100 horsepower freaking Hellcat.
Oh, okay, all right. See, I didn't know he was a car guy until I saw that post. I had no clue he was a car guy.
Huge car guy. In fact, he's got two trucks. One's called Lovezilla and one's called Tupac, and they're both the twin turbo setup V6. They're like one of a kind motors.
Yeah.
The Lovezilla truck is ridiculous, but yeah, he's a huge car guy and loves hot rods, loves fast, muscle cars. So that he and I we get along. It's nothing crazy, but I've got a little 6.2 LS swapped OBS Chevy pickup.
Okay, yeah.
Pretty gnarly. I don't show off in it, but it's every once in a while I'll put a video of it chopping because it's got a big cam in it and heads, and it's got a mild 500 to the wheels. It rips.
It's no big deal, you're right?
Yeah. I mean, I've had some of the faster stuff, the twin supercharged and stuff. Well, twin turbo. I had a 5.0 that was twin turbocharged. It was scary, and I had a supercharged Shelby. But there's something about having something that's NA, like just
dude,
raw horsepower.
Will just crack your neck when you crack the throttle open.
Yeah. I like it, man. That's what I'm talking about. Maybe it's because I'm getting older, but yeah.
You're starting to show you feel like a boomer now.
Well, a lot of my back designs were inspired by, hot rods here and vehicles there. I would take different design elements and incorporate them into like the background of a bat. And I don't know, sometimes it laid out pretty cool. And sometimes I had to hit the drawing board again, but I draw inspiration from different things. It's fun. It's fun.
So you talk about, go ahead.
No, I see bats are like a canvas to me, when it comes to art.
Yeah, see, that's another thing I would get myself in trouble with. Like, I don't know how familiar you are with like Bat Flip BP and some of the bat design stuff he does. Like, to be able to replicate and produce like bat artwork like that, I'd get myself in trouble with that too. Anything I can tinker and jack with, like make it the way I want.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, I'd be done for. I'd be absolutely done for.
Yeah, it draws you in and never lets you go.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do that. I'm the same way as you. Like, I do that with everything. Like, I got into bowling in the wintertime just for something to do because I was tired of sitting around the house. And dude, like I can tell you like the different cover stocks and the counterweights and the balls and what they do and this and that, just because like I had to know how it worked before I could do it. My wife just hates it. She absolutely hates it.
Yeah. You geeked out on it. Right. So what do you normally bowl? Like what's a good night for you?
A good night for me. So right now, like I started out pretty bad. I'm kind of a caveman style bowler. I don't use a thumb or nothing like that. So it's been an adventure. I'm averaging right about 170 right now, and still on the up and up. I got to make my spares, Leaf. I got to make my spares.
Yeah, you know what? I'll tell you what, man. There is something about that game, that one, and golf. I know my limits, man. I know my limits. I could see myself going through many of drivers, many of golf clubs, many of bad words. So I don't play that game. But bowling is something I'm kind of intrigued by because as I get older and a little less agile, I feel like it's still a game to keep good at. But I can't figure out, like, I'm like a straight on bowler. Like, I don't have the curve, I don't do all the curves.
Oh, dude, this is perfect. So my wife's probably in the other room cussing me right now because she can hear me talking about it.
Yeah,
so like, yeah. So like they make counterweights in the balls. Hell, they'll curve for you. You just got to throw it with a little bit of spin. Can you? Oh man, I hope you can hear me because I'm really geeking out right now.
Dude, I'm just recording this right now because you're in slow motion doing whatever you're doing. It's great.
So, can you hear me now?
Come on, don't film me now.
Let me know when you can hear me again. Are you still there?
There we go.
Yeah.
Yep.
So anyway, so you're talking about curving the ball and making the hook and everything. Like, dude, they put counterweights in the balls that do it for you.
Stop it.
I'm serious. And like the different shapes of the counterweights can dictate like if the ball makes like a big swooping motion or if it makes like a big like go straight down the lane and make like an angle motion. And then there's different like the ball, the really shiny ones will skid further before they like make their motion. Dude, it's crazy. It's absolutely nuts.
I need to not know this stuff, man. I need to not know this. I'm going to be up on that shopping bowling balls.
I'll send you some stuff when we get done.
You're over accessorized, and I'm going to show up with freaking 12 bowling balls in my hands trying to, be the guy, right?
Yeah, right.
I mean, listen, if my all-time high was a 177, I was like 12 years old, and for whatever reason, I got on fire that night, was hitting my spares, but I can't bowl over like 120 now. I mean, I'll hit them pins so freaking hard they should all blow up. But there's always like those weird splits if you don't hit it just right, and they're so hard to pick up. So I just like, you know what? This is a sport I'm never going to be good at, and I'm just going to be okay with it.
Oh, see, because you get your hook going, and see what you do when you get the hook going is then like the ball will drive through the pins instead of like hitting and like deflecting off. Well, it's got the momentum from the hook, and then it'll drive through the pins and push them all apart, so you don't end up with the funky spares unless you just throw a terrible shot. I'm telling you, it's wild. It's absolutely wild.
Man.
So you're welcome for that.
Get hooked into this, man. Feel it.
So we got to get off the bowling stuff here. Like we'll sit here. I'll sit here and get. So Snacks wants to know. Sorry, his name is Nick. We call him Snacks from the old softball fans days. What was your favorite bat that you helped design? Anarchy, Boomba, whatever, Miken, whatever the brand. What was your favorite bat to help design?
I read that on my way home from dinner, and I immediately went to the Nimmo senior bat this year, the blue, the metallic blue with the chrome on it. And it was just such a good looking bat. And I'm like, and that's so freaking like not the right answer because I can't pick my own bat that I designed. Like, come on. So to be honest with you, the 50 cal, I loved how that 50 cal laid out, especially the one from this year. And being that Cal's such a good buddy of mine and a guy who's been an ambassador for the brand, since he's been on board, but also former, a veteran, to be able to tie all those things in together and into one bat and put, blessed are the peacekeepers on there, like all the design elements, it was just a kick-ass looking bat, It just looked like I'm going to kick your ass. When you pick that bat up, you're like, oh.
Like somebody comes walking out of the dugout with that thing, it's like you just know you're fucked.
Yeah, you're done. It's over. Go ahead and pitch the ball because it's going over the fence.
It's my favorite things to say. Like, you might be in a situation of leverage where, like, kind of being a douchebag as a pitcher might benefit you a little bit. Like I'll yell over to the dugout, "Hey, why don't y'all go ahead and get another ball ready? He's fitting to hit this one out."
Put another quarter in.
Yeah, right. Yeah, then I'll be like, hey, they'll be throwing a ball in, be like, hey, just throw me 2. He's gonna hit this one out. Just anything to try and get the advantage. So you're saying that bat was that bat though, just even from a look standpoint.
50 cal was just like it just adds feet to your swing because it just looks so good. It's like it was just a cool design. It really came together really nicely. It flowed nicely, and like I said, it just told a story of humble yet soldier. Like it really put all of it together, and it couldn't have done it for a better guy. It's actually really cool because he didn't know that I was doing that bat for him.
Oh, nice.
And so he came over one day, and I was like, I just pulled it out of the box. I was like, here's to you, man. He's like, freaking teared up, freaking grown ass man, teared up. And I was like, got him. He's such a good dude, man. His story is amazing too. Like, I don't know how much time we got here, but
dude, we got all the time in the world. I don't want to keep you, so that's my big thing.
Everybody looks like they're in bed now, so as long as this Elon Musk service sort of works, we're good. But yeah, no, when I hit the ground running with Anarchy, right before that, I had met Cal. I'd moved up to Minnesota at 19 and was working for Mike at the time, which also located in Minnesota. And then Rawlings Group acquired them right in the middle of the scamdemic. They rebranded Cold. Sorry. Did I say all that? And so, we were in a funky place, but Cal, I met him at the gym one day, and we just got to talking, and he said he used to play softball. I was like, oh, cool. Heard that story before, and we were sitting there chatting it up. He said, well, if you ever want to go hit, hit me up. And so I was like, yeah, all right. So I was out hitting in a soccer field by where the gym was. Me and my wife at the time were hitting, and this guy pulls up, and I just hear this guy say, "Hey, jerk," which is like super code, like that is such a trigger word for me. Like, I'm ready to fight at the drop of the word jerk. And I look up, and it's him, and he's smiling at me, and I'm like, "Oh, my bad, man." I said, "You want to come hit?" And he's like, "No, next time." So the next time I was going to go hit, I made sure I called him. He met me up there, and he pitched to me. And I'm just, doing my thing. And I said to him, "Do you want to hit?" And he looked at me. He's like, "Nah, man, I'm good." I'm like, "You sure?" Something just told me that he wanted to hit.
Yeah.
And listen, when I tell you, like, the most majestic left-handed swing I've ever seen, mind you, this guy is like, I don't know, he's 55 at the time.
Ross, put your earmuffs on.
Right. Like, just beautiful, effortless. I don't know if you've seen him swinging in any of the videos we do, but he's just like, he's legit like 57. I think he's 50. Maybe he just turned 58. He has stadium power.
Wow.
Like,
Okay.
400 plus. We go back and look at some of our videos. He murders the softball. He still plays league with us out at the freaking Sunday Night Beer League, and he's like, it is ridiculous how good he is. But he took 10 years off. He just walked away from the game in his prime.
Wow.
And he brought me a picture one day. He brought me a picture from the Dudley way back in the heyday of the Dudley, like early 2000, maybe in the 90s. And it's him and Brett Helmer and Wallace and like all the names of upper softball back in the day. And he was right there in the thick of those guys.
Really?
Played with and against those guys, and then like walked away from the game for a decade, and then came back, never missed a beat, dude. Like, legit. Dude. He could go out and play. He could go play. He could compete at the conference level right now if he wanted to. Now his legs wouldn't let him.
Yeah.
Right. He's going to wear down. But as far as hitting, I guarantee you, if all he had to do was hit and get a runner, he'd hit 700.
See, it's just some people just got it, man. I hate him. I absolutely hate him.
Ridiculous, man. He gets so worked up because I'll be hitting BP and I'll hit balls. On the occasion, I'll hit a ball a good 450. Like, if I really wrap into one and the wind's blowing the right way, and but then I'll hit one 310 feet, and I get mad at myself.
Sure.
Because I want consistency. He's like, "Dude, you just hit a ball 400 something feet." And I'm like, "Yeah, but I didn't do it again." and he'll sit up there. He'll hit like 8 to 10 out in a row, like, and on command. Like,
good God,
never misses. And like, I'd rather have 10 350 shots consistently than one majestic 450 football and 3 310ers. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Just the consistency. So it's just fun. It's he and I go back and forth all the time. We give each other the business, but it's fun, man. He's like my dad. He's like, we just get into each other, man. It's fun.
So are you speaking of BP? So are you like overly critical of yourself in BP? Because I know I'm definitely guilty of that at times.
I'm pretty hard on myself. Now Do you ever remember watching the not softball top 10 that we did on the
Oh
TV
yeah.
back in the day? So Mr. One More,
Yeah.
that's me. That was legit me. Like I would hit 100 and something balls. If there was a ball in that bag, it was getting hit. And if it didn't get hit right, I was picking them all up again, starting over. But again, I wasn't gifted like some of these guys are. I didn't have the fundamentals of a baseball player. I didn't understand. So everything that I've learned in softball was by trial by error, trial by fire, or watching what some of these guys did in the game and try to implement that into my swing if possible. Some things you can't. Some things are just not. The whole waggling of the bat, dropping the hands, and all that stuff. That's not for me. More movement, more margin for error. But it
Sure.
works for some guys. But the only thing that worked for me was repetition. That's the only way that I could get better and be consistent was to continue to do it. And I'd beat myself up. And so I've gotten better about it. And I've gotten to where I'll take, rounds of, 25 or 30 at a time, just so that I don't wear myself down.
Sure.
But with purpose, there'll be I like to split the field up in 5 holes, down the line, left center gap, through the middle, right center gap, right side, 5, 5, 5, 5, and 5. And then work on other things. I actually learned that from Brett one day. We were in Texas and we were hitting when I was with him. And I watched Helmer go up there and he did backside 5 times, through 5, 6, 5 times, right through the middle, 3, 4, down the first base line. Never hit a ball out.
And did it with whatever pitch you threw him.
Whatever pitch.
Yeah.
And then he was done. And then I walked up to him and I was like, "You're done?" He goes, "Yeah, I'm done." I'm like, huh. So I went up there and I was dumbfounded by it. And I was like, okay. So I went up there and I was hitting and I was getting mad at myself because I was trying to hit frozen ropes off the wall, like seed gap ball off the wall. And I was mad because I was missing. And he goes, "What's wrong with that?" Well, I was like, "I'll just roll over." He goes, "Yeah, you roll over at 110 miles an hour. Nobody's going to catch that. Nobody wants to." I'm like, okay. He goes, "Listen, man, you got to have 3 swings in your arsenal." I'm like, okay. He said, "You got to be able to turn and burn on one. Everybody should be able to do that." He said, "You have to be able to go gap to gap and line to line." He said, "But the third most important swing of all swings in your arsenal is the ball that never leaves the park." And I was like, wow, that was profound to me because I'm thinking if I'm going to go to a gap, it's got to go on a line.
Yeah.
No, that's stupid. You're a ball. It's going to rise up and out and you're going to hit a bad home run. He goes, "But if you he goes, watch Bryson Baker. Watch him.
Dude.
Watch him." And people didn't realize this about Bryson Baker. He just throws it through holes and people, like it looks like he missed, but he's doing exactly what he wanted to do. He picked the hole and he did.
He was free when he was playing and all the live streams and all the stuff and all the clips afterwards, he was my favorite hitter to watch. He would take the most not even bullshit in the terms like it was a bad looking swing, but it would just be, he would just, just flick his hands at something. He could do top spin. He could do backspin. The top hand stuff is crazy to me that he can control the amount of top hand he puts on a ball. That's wild. Yeah. That's absolutely crazy.
Yeah. But then you watch him go to the Smoky and he'll hit 30 home runs. Like,
dude,
stupid.
Yeah. What year was it at the major? He hit dude, I don't even remember how many home runs in a row. I mean, it was just, he had a collection of balls down there in the left field corner. He hit 12 or 13 out in a row between 2 games. Dude, what the hell is that?
He's goofy talented, man. Goofy talented.
Crazy. It's absolutely crazy. He was one of my favorite guys to watch. It's kind of funny that you brought him up. I mean, it just, he had a swing for everything and he could do it whenever he wanted. It's that dude was the epitome of professional hitter.
Yeah, no, he's really good, man. He's a good one. I know somebody else asked one of the questions, who's the person who has the best swing. How was the question?
I don't know. Dude, we've been on squirrel moment of the year here, a few different times.
I love it. I hope everybody else is entertained because I know I am.
Oh yeah. I mean, this is, it drives my wife batty how I can just be all over the place all the time. It makes her insane.
In and out or 5 guys. I mean, Nick, come on. We already know the answer to that.
Well, what is it?
Let's go.
Whataburger. Okay.
Whataburger.
So I never had a Whataburger.
I did have what?
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You never had a Whataburger?
No.
Bless your heart.
So it's something we don't have around here, dude. I don't know how much time you spend in Missouri. It's just something we don't have around here.
Even the technology can't. You haven't had a Whataburger.
Stop it.
Whataburger's phenomenal, but I'll be honest, I did have a um, In-N-Out burger while I was in Cali, and it was pretty good. I gotta say, it was pretty good.
So yeah, we don't have any of that around here. I mean, like we're podunk, bro. I mean, we got a Waffle House.
Yeah. Well, you can't go wrong with Waffle House now.
No.
Favorite hitter of all time in slow pitch and why?
Oh yeah. I was gonna
That's a
get to
good
that one.
question too. Greg Cannell, man. There's just something about that swing, and I love a good lefty swing. I mean, there's nothing more beautiful than a good lefty swing. Greg Cannell is the right-handed version of a lefty. Like it is so flawless. That
Smooth.
swing is just so effort. It's smooth, but it's violent. Like it's got bad intentions, man. And he's not a big guy, right? He's not a big guy, but he'll hit that thing. And I mean, damn, the balls that come off of those hands of his, it's just crazy, crazy. I played against him this year at the Senior World in Texas, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" He's like, swinging his seat. I said, "That senior bat ain't doing you no good." I said, "The damn walls are touching. Your hands are too fast." And he just laughed because every ball he hit knuckled the whole way.
Oh my gosh.
The walls were touching, is wrapping around the ball, and
right.
But he's how fast his hands are. It's amazing. It's just really fun to watch.
So the thing that gets me with his swing is like, you'll see like some people that have like, this happens and then this happens and then this happens. With him, it all happens at once. There's no progression. It's just explosion and it's everything at once. It's impressive to watch the fact that like he can duplicate that. Like that one swing that you hit the ball 450, like it's like the one where everything comes together. He can do it every swing.
Yeah, and it's fun because he's so, like I said, he's so smooth. It's just so fun to watch. He's very balanced, right? There's not a whole lot going on there.
Right.
Hands are quiet, and then all of a sudden, kabam! And it's lights out.
So they were talking about it one time on one of the live feeds as well. Like, dude can deadlift close to like 600-700 pounds, right? So it's not like he's not your big typical like huge meathead, stocky. I mean, he just gets it done. He's athletic and he gets it done.
That brings us to another point. Somebody wanted to know about training.
Yeah, I was segueing there.
Yeah. Well, and Cannell was pretty thick there for a while. Like he had gotten himself pretty broad there, in the early, I'd say call it the early run to Rismondo. Of course, they had to run for so long, but
yeah, right.
He got himself into some really good shape and leaned down, and that's helped prolong his career quite a bit too, because he's not lost any pop.
No,
but what he's done is he's gained himself years of longevity in his joints, and and be able to go out there and still compete and play at this level even in his 40s, because he made that change. So when it comes to training, when it comes to what to do for the sport, you got to train for your sport. And I think a lot of guys, especially these younger guys, they just think if they get bigger and stronger, they'll be better at softball. But the problem with that is if you go in there and get big and bowed up at the chest and get all broad, you can't clear your chest. You don't have any rotation anymore. You get too thick and get too bound up. And so you want to not do any kind of hard chest workouts and exercises. You really want to focus on your back. You really want to focus on your legs. You want to focus on the things that that are implemented in the swing, from tricep extension and things of that nature. So it's definitely a different mindset when it comes to training for the sport.
Sure, and like that's one thing I always try and preach. When it comes to
looks like we froze again.
Yeah, I don't know. Can you not hear me? I can hear you.
But when you come back, let me know where I left off.
So anyway, I'll say my piece while. Oh, there you are. So remember, I heard everything you said, so you didn't have to pick up nothing. It is frustrating that like I can still hear you through all that, but you can't hear me.
I just know when you're like in an epic stare that it's not that you're really captivated by what I'm saying, like frozen in time. But then that cues me to just keep on going, man. Keep on going.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what Ross said that too. Is like you might have to, wrangle him in a couple of times. Like he'll just get to ramble and like, dude, that's great. I mean, those are the best people to interview.
He gave you a freaking heads up, man. Because I will freaking ping off into something else in a hurry, man. I think I'm doing pretty good tonight.
Yeah, hey, I think we're doing great. But it's kind of what you were talking about with the weight training thing, though. Compound movements are very good, but you have to maintain the flexibility within doing so. Like to me, that's the big thing. Is whatever your sport is, like the compound movements are going to help a ton, but Like you got to be able to do, like, don't just show up and bench press 1,000 reps and then walk out the door. Bench press and then do some rows, unbind yourself a little bit, do some squats and then do some deadlifts, like you got to accessorize the movements a little bit and like maintain the mobility in there too. And that's something that, like, dude, the conference has got some freak athletes in it. And you were talking about the guys that get like, big and barrel chested, and like, dude, some of those guys look like they can't even wipe their ass. They're so big. So, but they can still get it done.
No, if you look at softball back in the heydays, talking like, the 90s and whatnot, every guy looked like a freaking defensive end and linebacker. If you look at softball now, it's a bunch of, athletes. Like these people get in these conversations all the time. Oh, softball players in the 90s are way better than softball. Like, there's no way.
No.
I'm just, no disrespect to you guys, but the athletes of today, that'd be like saying the athletes in football from 20 years ago are better than the athletes of today. Like, you have offensive linemen in football running sub 540s.
Dude, I'm telling you. Yeah. See, that's also,
what I'm saying, the athlete is different today. There's no comparison.
Yeah. And that's why I can't stand, most of the time, I can't stand the LeBron versus Jordan argument, for the same reason. Everybody's like, oh, well, look at the guys LeBron's playing against. Well, Jordan was the athlete of his generation, the same as LeBron is the athlete of his generation. I mean, it's just, you can't compare that,
Yeah.
Like
it's an unfair comparison. I mean, it really is. I mean, it's just, Jordan's the GOAT, right? I mean, it is what it is.
No question.
LeBron's done some pretty amazing things too. He's a man amongst children for the longest, but I think LeBron gets a bad rep because of how he carries himself. If you go back to that, those conversations about how you carry yourself as an athlete and as a figurehead. But when it comes to, like, my best seasons I've ever had were the years that I trained. Watch your head. The years that I trained. I always, in the off season, I'll train for strength and size. I'll get big, I'll get strong. But come January, everything changes, and I'm no longer, I'm counting my macros. I'm doing a completely different regimen, and everything is with the intent to play the game so that I'll be, limber enough, but also have the longevity, right? Because the season's a grind, man, especially now with all the duels and whatnot. So if you're not in some kind of shape and flexible and able to move, then you're gonna pop things, blow things, things aren't gonna go well for you. And you see it time and time again. Come the end of the year in October at the major, everybody wants to put on about 20 pounds. It's like, dude, that's the wrong thing to do. Like, that's the worst thing you could do.
Yeah.
But I guess different strokes for different folks. But I know that my best years were the years that I focused hard on my diet and I trained specifically for the sport, which means I was probably 20 pounds lighter than I normally am. But I was lighter on my feet. I was quicker, and my joints, were able to withstand the beating that comes with the season. It's not just the games either. It's all the preparation off the field, the BP, the traveling, all that stuff. So
sure,
that would be my advice to anybody if you're looking to train for your sport.
Sure. So, Adam, Fat Guy BP, wants to know, like, who scares you? Being on the infield, whether it be pitching or playing anywhere on the infield, who's the one guy that comes to the plate and you're like, God, just please don't hit it here?
That's funny you say that, man, because I have some real dumb moments. I do some dumb things out there. Like, I think it was. I
like where this is going, because I do the same. I bet I do the same thing. Continue with your story.
2 years ago, we were playing. I guess it was Nitro Circus, Greinert's team, and Greinert's known for being a bully. Greinert's good. I can say this without worrying about him being upset about it. But he's a bully. He's a guy that goes up there and he's a big dude. And he's intimidating the most. But he was intimidating the freaking umpire. And I pitch a little flatter. Than most, but I also release it from a little lower than most. And it, every damn pitch was flat. That's flat. That's flat. That's flat. That's flat. That's flat. I'm like, well, it wasn't even me pitching at the time. It was David Baer, who also throws pretty flat and releases low. So when I came into the game, the very first pitch that I threw Greinert was as fast as I could hum it underhanded. I mean, it came through the zone and it hit the catcher in the chest. And I looked and I said, "What's wrong with that one? Was that one flat?" And dude, he tried to kill me the next pitch, dude. He let out this gorilla yell and he hit it like 600 feet for a solo. And I was like, "Good job." But,
yeah, you did it.
I did it, you know. But honestly, man, I don't. I feel like, and I'm going to say this now because I'm not playing anymore. I'm sticking to it.
Yeah.
Uh, I never really feared anybody hitting at me because I felt honestly like this might be stupid or naive of me, but I felt like I had a good enough rapport with people. Like if I jump a hole and I get hit, it's part of the game,
Sure.
you know. But I never felt like anybody was maliciously going to hit at me. You know, I never felt like anybody was coming after me, so I didn't really fear that. But I wasn't that ball player either that like would make somebody want to hit at me or run my head or like I carry myself differently. So I feel like people stayed off of me for the most part. But when the game's on the line, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Now, but I will tell you that there was a time when I pitched against Harvey when he first started coming up, and I wasn't loving that moment because he didn't. He had no idea what he was. He was playing for Gene Shop. He was a massive 6'5", 300-pound specimen of a man, just trying to figure out how to play softball.
Yeah. Swinging a Sonic Plus with 40 ounces of inload, no control, no clue where it's going.
Zero back control whatsoever. So I did cringe a little bit every time I pitched, and I believe I took off running towards first base most of the time. I let it go. Just because, and Harvey's like one of the nicest guys there is. Like I don't know if you could get him to hit at somebody if you wanted to.
Oh, dude,
I might freaking miss and freaking blow my doors in,
Yeah.
So it was probably the only time that I ever like feared being hit at was like, if that dude hits me, it's going to hurt. That's going to leave a mark. Now I did get hit one. This is freaking stupid. I was pitching in an all-star game in Texas a few years ago.
Oh, not the all-star game.
Yeah. The all-star game, right? I went out there with no leg guards, no helmet.
Oh, no.
Nobody's going to hit at me. It's unlimited home runs. This freaking kid, dude, he hit me so hard in my knee that the right fielder freaking caught the ball.
And, no.
Yeah. I mean, freaking blew me up, dude. And of course, my pride gets in the way and I'm walking it off. And LC comes out there and I'm like, well, this is your fault anyways, because he was hurt. He couldn't play. And so, everybody's like, you all right? You all right? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. Kept playing. But it ended up tearing my meniscus.
Oh, wow.
The impact of the ball, me planting at the same time. Hey, this is not even the right remote. Yeah, so me planting my knee and getting hit at the same time, it ended up tearing my meniscus. But it was
wow,
just a big deal. But it's stupid, right? Like you think nobody's going to hit at you. It's an all-star game. It's unlimited, and that's when things go wrong.
Yeah, and that's I preach that in the pitching little like tutorial kind of crash course thing, a video that I did. Like you got to prepare for every ball to be hit back at you. The one time you're sleeping is when you're going to get got. In prime example of that right there. I've been hit in league playing against, no offense, but playing against not very good players. I've been hit more there than I had, or you had many more close calls anyway than I had pitching tournament ball. Because like they have no clue where it's going. They're just up there to swing hard and have fun. And with today's bats, you don't get a chance to defend yourself sometimes.
Yeah, when I go play league and they want me to pitch, I'm like, really? Especially up here too, man, because league will start and it'll still be 40 degrees outside because it's cold up here. And it's like, no, I don't think I want to be honest with you. If I get that floating rubber and I'm standing out there at second base, maybe. But, it's league night, right? You just never know when somebody's going to freaking wail on one and not know how to lay off of an outside pitch or what have you. And,
right.
Well, it's your own fault for not gearing up, but yeah, that's something that I will definitely tell anybody, and I'm the dumb that'll go out there and pitch without a helmet. But if you're pitching in this game, you should gear up. You should wear a helmet. You should put leg guards on, and just if you have that stuff on and you get hit, it's way better than not having that stuff on and get hit. In fact, I got hit in the ear one time, and it was a fluke deal pitching at BP where we had freaking 17 guys on the freaking team. So we had 2 hitters and 2 pitchers going, one screen. One guy would lean out and pitch. Another guy, I'd lean out and pitch. And I leaned out, and you throw a ball and it's not right. I lay off that. And I stuck my head out of the ball, and the dude hit that freaking thing, and it hit me right in my freaking, like right in the side of my head. I thought that was the end of my freaking life that day. And it was just a fluke deal, right? Like this is BP. Like he just flicked it at me.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, imagine if somebody, hits a ball 100 miles an hour, hits you in the face, like nothing good's going to come from that. So freaking put a helmet on.
So I actually, you talk about BP incidents. So I actually got hit. It got me, I don't know how clear my camera is. It actually got me up here. And the ball came through the screen and got me right there. It actually crushed my gum line and broke the roof of my mouth. and pushed a couple of my teeth through my lip. I lost, I think, two teeth. I had one come loose, but it ended up doing its thing. But I have two fake teeth up front, and like I said, because it hit me up here, my left nostril's all jacked up. And
was the screen intact and it just failed on impact, or was you too close to it?
It was one of those big like Easton. I had the Easton screens with like the Velcro things on them. Hear me out. So we had used that screen for years and never had an issue out of it. Never, not one time. We've hit them off the because it was a Velcro thing, so you could switch sides. I don't know if you've ever seen one of those. So you could like switch sides. Like we had hit I don't know how many balls off that thing, and like the dude I hit really hard, and we never had an issue. So it's the same thing, you throw the pitch, you just doesn't feel good. Well, I threw the pitch and I knew, like, because I know him, like I knew where the ball was going. So I stepped back and just waiting to watch the ball go by. And like, I hear it hit the screen and like, I felt something on my face. I thought the screen had fell back and got me in the face. And like, I kind of like stepped out from behind it for a minute just to kind of compose myself. And like, I was like, the hell's in my mouth? Like I get to like, like I feel my face and like I got blood all over my fingers and like I realize like that's my teeth I'm pushing on with my tongue.
Oh my gosh, dude.
And he goes, did that get you? And I spit out a literal mouthful of blood. He just goes, oh shit, just ran to the car. I mean, he just took off.
Oh my gosh.
We had to have his old lady come out and pick all the stuff up. And she calls him and starts yelling at him. She goes, what'd you do to him? There's blood everywhere out here. It's like, we were in no control of the situation. I mean, it's just one of those freak things, but it's actually on my dad's birthday. So instead of going home to see dad that night, I got to call him on the way home. Be like, hey, he's like, yeah, you didn't come over tonight. I was like, no, actually, I was in the ER getting my lip stitched back together. Thanks though.
Face blown off.
Yeah, for real. It was a wild deal, but so yeah, I mean, it's you never try. That was my other thing is never trust a BP screen. Always turn your fucking head. Always turn your head.
Yeah.
So let's see. Oh, so we were talking about pitching a little bit earlier, and you were kind of talking about playing with a grinder, throwing that really fast, flinging that fast one in there, right? I feel like there's a little bit of pitching that like you almost got to be willing to be a D-bag at least a little bit sometimes to kind of play the game, right? To kind of get in somebody's head.
Well, that's part of pitching. Is mind games. Because listen, you're throwing it underhand. There's only so much you can do. Yeah. So if you can somewhat get into somebody's head, get them rattled a little bit, get them off balance, or get them to try to do something that they don't want to do. If you got a guy that is like dead pull all the time, work them on the outside, throw a bender that runs out and let them try to pull an outside pitch, stuff like that. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I, especially on Sunday night beer league out here, I do get under people's skin a little bit. And I had one guy get tossed. He got tossed because he just lost his mind. Like I was taking my time up there. I was just being a goofball.
Yeah.
And he couldn't stand it, and he couldn't hit off of me because he was so aggravated. And like he took the softball and he like chunked it over the fence, like just was being a total jackwagon.
Yeah.
And I looked at him. I'm like, what is wrong with you? I was like, just softball. He goes, you're not freaking special. And I'm like,
oh God, here we go.
I didn't say I was. I'm just out here having a good time, and you're not. So. Unfortunately, you got to leave, and I don't.
Thanks for coming and having another beer. I'll see you in the parking lot.
Yeah. Well, and that's the other thing. It's like I'm not going to fight somebody over slow pitch softball, but I mean, what are you going to do, man? Seriously. I mean, you really want to go box? We can go box, but that'd be a dumb decision too. Like it's Sunday night beer league. Let's just have fun. You know what? If I'm having fun, you have fun, and everybody, whatever.
Yeah. So you got the guys that get all worked up. It's it's actually a funny story. So this year we're playing it. It's a charity tournament. It's the biggest tournament of the year in this area. I mean, 100 something teams over 3 days, co-ed, men's, women's, all the stuff. And we're playing like we were not going to play, and I got suckered into playing like rec, like basically E co-ed. I'm kind of like, all right, well, whatever. We'll go out and have some fun because it was with some people we used to play with way back in the day. And I get up there. Like I'm bad about like walking around and talking to people before I go pitch. Mm-hmm. So, like we get the ball back in and I'm BSing with somebody and I go take the rubber. And the second I step on the rubber, dude steps out of the box. I was kind of like, okay, whatever. And then we go back and forth and like I see him shake his head one time and as I throw another pitch and whatever happened, I don't remember what happened in between pitches, but like I saw him shake his head before I threw another pitch. And we get back in the dugout and our catcher was like, "Did you hear what he said?" And I was like, "No." And she goes, "He was walked to the plate and as he was stepping in the box, he was counting under his breath." "What was he counting?" She goes, "He thought there was a pitch clock." Dude was legit trying to get a pitch clock violation on me in co-ed fundraiser ASA softball tournament. So I said, did he really? I said, "Did he really do that?" And she goes, "Yeah, he did that." I said, "Thanks for the information."
Yeah.
Dude, we were talking about what we were going to eat after the game and, what's the best thing to put on a peanut butter sandwich. And I mean, just anything we could think of to talk. He was, I mean, steaming hot.
Yo, I gotta go ahead and put this disclosure out too. Like, not all conference softball players are D-bags. In fact, a lot of us just enjoy being able to go play when we can go play, right?
Sure.
The part of the negative, I guess you will, of playing conference ball is that you can't go back home and play with your buddies, right? Unless there's an open, which there never is. So if you get to go play league night or whatever, most of the time we're playing out of position. We're just out there to have fun. And it's not that serious. We're just happy to be able to go out and play and have fun. And I think a lot of the time, like, there's this, it's like you can't win for losing, right? So like if you pop up or you roll over, then you're overrated. You suck. Well, never mind the pitcher that throws the ball on the outer half of the plate and you're just trying to keep it off of them, right? So you miss and you pop up.
You don't want to walk either.
Yeah. No, there's no walking in league, period. So, but then if you blaze the box or you do something that's like unethical in league night, then you're a D-bag.
Yeah.
No, I'm just, so you can't have it. So, I don't know. I mean, there was a guy that he popped me up. I mean, he threw a good pitch. He popped me up, and so I was like, all right, let me focus a little bit here. I think I'm maybe a 2 beer in and need to sharpen up a little bit.
Yeah.
So I buzzed the tower a little bit. I didn't hit it at him, but I just hit it where I wanted to hit it so that I was back on it. And I got the first, and he's like, just looks at me. He's like, "Really? No apology?" And I'm like, "No. Like, what am I going to apologize to you for? I didn't hit you." And I hit it where I wanted to. There's nothing worse than my bad pitch after you meant to hit the pitcher. Don't say anything at all.
Yeah, no, never do. I don't anyway. I mean, it's, whatever. To me, it's the apology is like that pitcher probably don't want to hear it anyway. So just don't.
No.
Just don't.
No, not in the moment. Not in the moment. He doesn't want to hear that at all. The last thing.
Yeah. Maybe check on him after the game. Like, "Hey, you good?" If you did get hit, "Hey, you good?" Or, apologize for, maybe buzzing the tower. But like in the moment, I don't listen to it anyway. Like I'm bad. Like I will, like there's people trying to yell at me. I'm going to bat. Like people are yelling at me from the dugout. Like there's been times where the umpire's like, "Hey, they're talking to you." Like, dude, I'm in my own little world, especially when so especially when I pitch, it's the same way. My wife, she plays first base. She'll be like, "Hey, he was trying to apologize to you." I was like, "I didn't hear him." Like, I don't want to hear him either. So, it's one of those things. I mean, you talk about buzzing the tower and I don't know. It's a weird thing to, so we've got, a decent selection of players around here. Like if we get together and play, then we're saw as the bullies. Like you said, it's the conference players aren't necessarily going out there to beat up on guys. It's their chance to play with their friends.
Yeah, that's all we want to do. We want to go out there and have a good time.
Yeah, and it's you try and laugh and giggle with each other, and sometimes that can kind of turn into maybe looks like you're trying to clown on the other team or something like that, and that's always a hard one too. So like we were in a situation in league this year. We drew cards before every game, and the card is where you played in the field.
Okay.
And like there was like misconception that like we're doing this because like we're out here just trying to rub it in. No, we're trying to make this a game for you, dude. I'm out playing in right center field. This ain't fun for me, but
yeah, right. Last place I'll be. Yeah,
right.
Funny. Did we answer Adam's question? Back at BP, I want to that we addressed that. I can't remember
which one. Oh, who scares you on the infield? Yeah, you said you wasn't scared. That's kind of wild.
Yeah, the pitcher, yeah.
So have you ever tried to put yourself in harm's way? just to try and get somebody to do something different?
Yeah. Well, it wasn't to do something different. 2 years ago, I dislocated my shoulder. I blew the whole thing out. It's a weird Kansas City tournament, last tournament of the year.
Okay.
We were first game Friday night playing against the Amish kids. They would have been Silverbacks then, I think. Anyways, I hit a one hop ball up the middle. Guy catches it cleanly. I'm like, dadgummit, but I'm getting down the line. And when I realized the first baseman's coming off the bag, the throw was off, I last minute dove into the bag. And when I did, it ripped everything. My whole shoulder dislocated out of place. Just nasty. Had to have it surgically repaired later. But anyhow, I was the backup pitcher. So we got to, I think late Saturday, we were making a run, and Thor was getting rocked against the Seminoles. Maybe it was, I can't remember. But anyways, I had no function on my arm whatsoever. So I was like, screw it, I'm going in. And I go in there and I slide my glove on, my arm's hanging down by the side. And I'm just going to literally just, pitch and just get us out of the inning.
Right.
And the umpire actually called time, and he's like, no. He's like, you're not, no. And I'm like, well, I don't know that option we have. I don't know that you can tell me no. He's like, I'm telling you no. Because he knew. Like, he knew I was hurt. And so, anyways, our third baseman came in to pitch, and he, holy smokes, bless his heart, man. He might have thrown 60 pitches and 2 of them for strikes. But, I was willing to do it. Willing to do it. But sometimes you have to do some things you don't necessarily want to do. You got to jump holes. Now, I will tell you a stupid thing I did one time in a backyard tournament, and I will never do it again. I threw my glove off as I pitched the ball, and the guy hit a one-hopper back at me. And I did catch it. I caught it out of self-defense, and I turned around and I threw it at first, and I turned around and picked my glove up, and I was like, all right, I'll never do that again.
See, so by technicality here, help me out here. So I know in ASA that is illegal, but in U-Trip, is that fair game? Do you know? I mean, obviously you're playing a backyard tournament.
It should have been illegal. It should have been, whatever.
Unfairly delivered,
or delivered, or just illegal, period. Throwing the glove off. In fact, I think if you do that in the field, you're like extra base awarded or something like that.
Okay, yeah, I guess that's true. It'd be the same thing, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but he swung at it, so it became a live pitch.
Right.
He knocked me right in the freaking mouth, so I got what I deserved.
Yeah.
And, I didn't do that again.
No, I've definitely been known to, I'll cover my face, and I wear an some people probably think I can't see. I wear an H-web glove, so I can see through it, but I'll cover my face.
Looks like we're freezing again, so I'll just wait for you to come back.
Yeah, you're good.
Here we go.
Okay. So yeah, I wear like an H-web glove, so but to everybody else, it looks like I can't see. I'll put the glove over my face and pitch, looking through there.
Yeah.
But it's just again, it's just something different. But I remember this one time, this guy says, he said, don't you ever cover your face when you pitch to that man. And I said, I knew who the guy was. I said, trust me, I know. And the next pitch he hit about 450 feet. I'm like, oh man. He goes, yeah, see? I said, yeah, no, trust me. I served that up so he could hit it.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can.
Here you go, bud.
Yeah, right. Sorry for that last one.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I feel like that's something too, that maybe, is a pitcher, you talk about people trying to make their way up through the levels of stuff. Is a pitcher, some guys are scared to be hit at. Like, you almost can't be sometimes. You got to be willing to maybe make the dumb pitch, or, like you said, to grinder. Again, back to the grinder thing. You whip the flat one in there praying he wasn't going to swing at it, because if he did, we all knew where it was going.
Yeah.
But we've done that before. Like, we had a guy, I don't know if Q's still in here or not. He's one of my really good friends. He's playing third base. We were playing against this dude. I mean, just cutting seeds. I mean, seed after seed after seed. And they were out of his reach, but of course we're all bullies. So we was like, dude, catch those. I mean, they're like 10 feet over his head and like one hop in the left fielder, so, but this dude was just killing us. So finally he gets up and I'm pitching. I was like, just everybody go stand in the 6 hole and like, I'll just throw him one outside.
Yeah.
And see what he'll do with it. And sure enough, like nobody would move. Of course, nobody would go over there. The shortstop's like, no, he's like, I'm not going over there. The middleman literally took one step. He's like, no, he's like, no, he's like, I'm good. But I did. I threw him outside, and just like, like here it comes, like almost closed my eyes because I didn't want to see it coming. And like, he just rolls it through the 4 hole. It's like, well, at least we got him to do something different. Sometimes
tip your hat at him.
Yeah, right. But again, you're not hitting 115 mile an hour line drive at my left fielder either. So
Right.
you're held to a single instead of him going and picking it up off the fence.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of the best advice I was given early on, and I'll be honest with you, the only reason why I started pitching was because I realized that to make it up to the top, if you could be a good pitcher, like a good pitcher that could hit for high average and had stadium power, then you could carve yourself a spot on a good AA major team
Yeah.
by doing that. So that was the whole reason. It's not that, and I wasn't terrible, but I wasn't a great pitcher, but I thought if I could be serviceable on the bump, I had stadium power and I could hit for average, then I'd get an opportunity. And then once I got more reps up there as a pitcher, then I felt like I would get better. Um, so some of the best advice I was given though was it's not if, it's when you're going to get hit. And
No. Yeah.
it didn't take long. I got freaking dotted really quick and learned real fast, whether I wanted to do it or not. And I got back up. Let's go. And some of the other advice I was given. You know the name Billy Messina? He's
Oh
a
yeah. Yeah.
legend. Pitched for years and years and years.
Dude, he was like old and gray and still out there pitching if you had to.
He's the wizard, man. Like,
Dude.
seriously. He had taught me a long time ago, like, you can't follow your pitch, and you get caught doing this all the time. I know I do. If a pitch starts, floating outside, if your assignment fall off onto the right, you follow your pitch to the left.
Yep.
You're going to get hit, right? So you gotta, you just gotta have that. Pitching is a very, very, very difficult position. People understand, like, you're in charge of the entire game. You manage the flow of the game. Some of the greatest pitchers are the pitchers that slow the game down and make those games go 2.5, 3 hours long because they're controlling the flow of the game. They don't run right back up there to pitch again. If somebody's getting, if he's getting drilled a few times, then he's going to stop, tie his shoes, take his helmet off. Watch.
Sure.
All these are all stall tactics to change the flow of the game. But it's every single pitch there's a thought process. There's a train of thought. There's an assignment.
There has to be.
Somebody like myself with ADD, I can't remember after I throw the first ball that I'm supposed to be filling the 5-6 hole. It's already gone. Now I'm focused on throwing a ball or striking. Now my pitch is floating outside. Next thing you know, I'm standing in front of my middleman. And we're both looking at each other like,
right.
On me. So, there's a lot to it. There's a lot to it. So, it takes an intelligent yet crazy person to go out there and want to do that at that level. But if you're good at it and you can hit, like I said, for average and power, you can make some pretty good cash doing it.
So how do you feel about, like, I've kind of said this, at least on a, somewhat of a local level. This might be a little bit of a local mentality, and obviously your skill set's going to come into it as you work your way up in skill. But I've personally always kind of felt like, obviously I'm not talking like the guy that just started playing and he happens to be a good hitter, but like good, well-rounded hitters make good pitchers. I've always kind of felt that way. Like, what do you feel about that?
It's interesting. It's just something I struggle with understanding is why do pitchers not hit for average, right? Like, there's some pitchers that are exceptions to the clause, right? Travis Clark and,
That guy's just built different. Yeah.
Yeah. But he was a hitter before he was a pitcher.
True. That's fair.
To your point.
Mm-hmm.
To your point. So, but it's like, what do you guys just quit taking batting practice because you're a pitcher now? Seriously, like Mooch, for example. I mean, one of the best pitchers out there. Like, you talk about somebody gets in your head and gets you off your game.
Yeah.
Fearless, but he can't hit himself out of a wet paper sack. And it's like, Mooch, like, do you just not take BP? Like, I know you're not the biggest guy, but like you got to be better than 400, man.
So like Mooch, I've all the respect for the guy, but like I've never seen in, he can get mad at me. Sorry, Mooch. If you happen to be watching this, like he can walk away from it at bat and it looks like he does not care that he looks inconvenienced to go bat.
Yeah, and it's probably his mindset. He's like, I'm not here to hit,
Right.
And he can get mad at me all he wants to because I'm not playing anymore. And, Mooch is still my homeboy, but you talk about like an impact player, like he's one of those guys that he will change the game. Look what he's done and where he's done.
Oh yeah,
what he's done it with. But and it's not a knock on him. It's pitchers in general. Like, I don't understand why pitchers, once they become pitchers, all of a sudden don't. It's not like you're in the major leagues. You don't take batting practice because you're not allowed to.
Right.
But now I will say this: it definitely will take 50 points off your average at least on any given weekend, if not more, just because of the grind, right? going out there and pitching and towing rubber. And if, your legs, without your legs, you're pretty useless out there. And so it does take a lot out of you. But I mean, I've seen some really good pitchers be really bad at the plate. I just can't quite understand why.
Yeah, it is interesting to me. It's like, I feel like at least from an approach standpoint, a good hitter would make a good pitcher because it's like, okay, well, I know what I wouldn't want to hit in this situation. So like, that's what I want to throw. I've seen that work out a little bit, at this level. I was just kind of curious, like, would that apply to the next level? But you do bring up the point that like most pitchers aren't really, you take anything they can get OBP wise as a blessing. I guess I never really considered that factor.
I kind of always looked at it like this, especially when I was running my ASP teams. It's like if my pitcher, middleman, and center fielder, if they hit anything over 500, it's a bonus, right? Been done. There's a name for you. That guy couldn't hit himself out of a wet paper sack either. He was 400 at best. But I tell you what, I didn't care because what he did in the outfield, what he took away, was like an 800 for me by the time you counted the outs that he made. Like, it was ridiculous what he would do. And then he figured out how to hit, and it was like game over.
Well, it's like the outfield's like a no-fly zone when he's out there. It's kind of wild to watch the amount of ground. Like,
that guy's 40 years old, by the way. So
are you serious?
He's running around for yeah, exactly.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. There's some really good 40 and over guys coming out right now.
So Zirkle's close to 40, right?
Zirkle's. So let me just throw a few names at you right now.
Okay.
As I learned while I was down there playing this year. I mean, I'm knocking on 50 now, so I'm about to be leaving these 40 guys behind. But Zirkle's in his 40s, Dunn's in his 40s, Tommy Melton, J Mag. I'm trying to think. Pinkham, like these are all guys still playing at the conference level.
Yeah.
Brambilla on the West Coast, Bazat, all those guys with J.K. Cannell, as I just mentioned. Like the 40 over program is fixing to get really freaking salty. So really salty.
You talk about the 40 over program. What's your thoughts on 40 and overs hitting scene? Obviously, we're take out the top level. What's your thoughts on like the 40 and overs, like actually being able to swing senior bats?
I think it's ridiculous. I don't think you should be able to swing a senior bat unless you're 50.
I do agree with that. We've been kind of dabbling in the senior reviews just for like a content aspect. And I mean, they do well, but it's like, I feel guilty hitting some of these things sometimes. Like, I'm not one that like I don't make claims to like hitting the ball far. I just don't. I can't. And I don't. Like, dude, we did a review here a while back on a senior bat, and dude, I was missing balls almost 400 feet. It's like, I shouldn't be swinging this thing. Like, it's kind of wild.
It is like in your 40s, you're at your strongest and most accurate. Like, if you really wanted to freaking blow somebody's doors in, it won't be hard because you've been playing for as long as you've been playing, right? So you know what to do with what you're doing it with, and you got this freaking lightsaber in your hands. I don't really think that, again, I don't make the rules. That's why I say, I'll swing one because, well, I don't make the rules. I'm going to play by them.
You're right.
But it's like at 50, at 50 plus, and even some of these guys in their 50s are still freaking jacked out of their minds. So, you lose a little bit of agility, but you don't lose that strength, right? But at some point, the hands will slow down. Like I said, Father Time's undefeated, but it ain't when you're in your 40s.
Sure.
I mean, I've heard of freaking 35 and over tournaments letting guys swing senior bats. I'm like, just stop it. Like, what are you guys doing?
I mean, that's going to get somebody killed.
Exactly. I mean, if you need to swing a senior bat at 35, you need to pick up a different hobby.
For real. I mean, you could approach maybe like the later 40s. You could kind of, point that finger too. But I feel that way, dude. It's like, I have friends that play 40s and swing senior bats. So like, no, shade thrown that direction, but like, no business doing it. And it's
the first time I played in a 40 over, I was hitting balls to the moon, and guys were like, disgusted with me. Like, really? Like, well, like, I don't make these rules, and I felt bad. I swung my U-trip bat the rest of the freaking weekend because I felt bad.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's just my opinion, man. I think that senior bats should be 50 plus, in my opinion. But again, I don't make the rules. So.
Sure. I've kept up a bunch of your time here. We keep like squirreling off onto like some different stuff. So I want to try and wrap a little bit of this up here. Maybe get to bed at a decent hour. So real quick, I just want to go over a couple things here. So you've been in the game for quite a while. The Pro-Am is obviously a bit new. The hardcore is a whole different conversation for another day. Classic M versus Pro-Am. What do you prefer?
Pro-Am.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for the bat today, right? One of the biggest mistakes I think that U-Trip made, and I'm just going to be transparent, is bringing that Pro M ball out when the 220 bats are still in the play. Now, obviously, that's been corrected since, but
Sure.
the flight patterns off of that bat ball combination were the most ridiculous. I've never seen knuckleballs break 12 feet in the air the way that they would break on line drives. Like, it was scary. Guys charging in on balls, and they'd end up going over their heads and over the fence. Like,
Yeah.
that doesn't make sense. If they would, the problem is, and I got to tread carefully here, but I believe that your bat ball combo shouldn't have to change every freaking 4 or 5 years. Now, there's only a couple of reasons why that would make sense, and I'm not going to get into all that.
Yeah.
But I think people watching or paying attention could figure that out for themselves. But what I will say is that I do believe that they're trying to make steps to make the game safer. But at the same time, it goes back to that whole participation thing. They farted around a few years ago and they put the classic M in play at the Smoky, and there was like 5-3 ball games, and people were not entertained, right? So softball is about scoring runs.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. You want to, you don't want to see a 67-82 ball game or something stupid like that. But there should be 30 runs scored a game at the top level when you're talking 7 inning ball games and 12 to 16 home runs. So finding that bat ball combo that will meet that demand, if you will, because that's what people want. We live in an instant credibility success world.
Oh, dude, don't even get me started on that.
Nobody wants to work for anything. That's why the bats are hotter than they've ever been. And it's just supposed to be, the 240 was supposed to make the game safer and all this other stuff. Well, I don't think it's made anything safer.
I don't either.
Batted ball speeds are still just as good, if not more, with the new bat ball combo. So, and then now you got this thing called the hardcore in play, which is again, whole other conversation.
Yeah, we'll pocket that one for another day. We're gonna have to turn this into 2 episodes.
One conference season of that ball. Let's see what I could do, but whatever.
Yeah,
I'm good. I've been blessed. I'll take it. I'll take my run.
Right. So yeah, we'll have to shelf there's the Pro M thing, and then there's I wholeheartedly agree with you. Like maybe at the initialization of the 240s, we could say that there was like, okay, there was a change here, and this made a difference.
Yeah.
Maybe not at your level, but I definitely saw it at like the C and D level.
Oh, we all saw it, and that's why it changed quickly, because everybody was not happy.
Right.
And performance wasn't there, and you go to the stadium at the major, and you're having 12-7 ball games, and everybody's looking around at each other like, well, this sucks.
Right.
So back to the drawing board we go.
Yeah. No, so I get that, but there's the side of it too that's like, now if you were a hitter, like that's why I tell everybody, if somebody all been out of the game for a while and I'm getting back into it, what's the 240 bat like? Listen, if you were a hitter before, you're still a hitter.
Absolutely.
But if the big thing with the 220 is, dude, everybody was a hitter. Like it didn't matter. You could swing the damn thing with the barrel in your hands and still find a way to hit the sweet spot. It didn't matter.
Yeah, 140-pound guys hitting balls 350. That was a problem.
That's a big problem.
Yeah.
But we're rabbit holing again. So best up and comer. Who do you got? Who's the guy that you think's going to hit the scene here sooner? Somebody needs to know about him and they haven't yet.
That he's not already there.
Yeah, like he's like you're not sure why he ain't got the call yet.
Oh,
Let's give him a shout out. Always like to do that.
That's a tough one. Let me ponder that for a minute.
Yeah. So I did get him on the spot.
At 11:05, roll around with a stroller. Like, what are we doing here?
Hey, let's go. Yeah, you were definitely partying. So think on that one. Let's catch up with the live chat here. Best nickname in the conference.
Best nickname in the conference?
Uh-huh.
Oh man, these are good, dude.
Hey, tell the chat.
These are good. Best nickname in the conference. God, dog.
I mean, I feel like Buckshot was a good one for a while. It's like,
yeah, Buckshot was good, but God, Blaster's a pretty good one.
Who was Blaster?
Two guys share that name. Eric Canabi.
Okay,
and Travis Clark both share the name Blaster.
Okay.
This sounds goofy. Yeah.
There's a lot of different ways you could go with that one. That's the problem with that one.
True. True. Yeah.
So favorite softball protege: Stuart Snell, Shannon Smith, or Cole Campbell?
Oh man, damn, that really put me on the spot now. Well, I can't go with Stewie because he didn't last long enough. That kid could have been freaking great. But he found more important things in life to do, like raising kids and having a family.
Right. Instead of letting him run around the house with a stroller at 11 o'clock.
Shannon. I'm going to go with Shannon Smith. Cole is such a good dude. He's my bro. Like me and that dude have really good stories. But he's a different guy, man. I was actually talking to him on the phone tonight. He is a special individual. Like when you hang around Shannon, like he will enlighten your day. Like he's crazy what people don't know about it. He's super intelligent, like ridiculously intelligent. That guy is, but he just looks like the Bronny Tao guy everywhere he goes. He's just
right.
in lumberjack mode and looks like he should step off the set of a Metallica concert, which he can play the guitar, by the way.
Oh, nice.
Shred.
Okay.
But yeah, I've got some funny stories about Shannon. We'll save that one for another time.
Yeah. We're definitely gonna have to revisit this a little bit. I usually try to cap the podcast an hour, and I looked down and realized we were 2 hours and a minute in. I was like, oh man, we've been here for a minute.
Must be doing something right then.
You're
All
right.
Hold on. Okay, so we had best nickname.
Uh-huh.
And I kind of sort of got to that one. No, the best nickname in the conference is Tank Top. Taylor Albright. Tank Top. Because the guy never wears sleeves.
Okay, that's fair.
And he's a freaking riot. I don't know if you've ever gotten a chance to talk or be around that guy.
Uh-uh.
If you want to have somebody on your podcast, Taylor Albright.
Okay.
And PG aware, because that dude will go there. He is freaking hilarious.
Hey, yeah, we're here for that.
If you could get him and Ryan Tomasi on the same set,
game over.
Game over. Like instant viralness. Those two together, it's just ridiculous.
Either that or demonetized, one of the two, right?
Yeah, that too. What was the other one I missed?
Up and comer.
See, I was going to go with Streets, but he made it. He made it, right? Like,
dude, he made it fast too, right?
Really quick. So, man, there's so many good athletes coming up out there. Another one that I thought about, he made it too, Bradley Jones. Like that dude's ridiculous. Dude, he came up out of nowhere really quick.
Like he's Cannell 2.0. Those hands are ridiculous.
Violent, dude.
It's
you
wild.
Talk about somebody with bad intentions. That dude right there is bad intentions,
man. For a softball, and he don't care who's in the way.
Here, I'm going to throw you one. His name's Will Maribel.
Okay.
And he was the defensive MVP at the A World that we won in 2022. His hands are silky smooth. He's a lanky shortstop, middle infielder, but his ability to read, and to put himself in a position to make plays. If he ever figures it out at the plate, and I do think he will, he's only about 130 pounds soaking wet. So
yeah.
Once he actually puts a little size on and he actually puts a little pop behind his swing, defensively, that dude is ridiculous. And I'm going to give you another name, Anthony Acevedo, which was my rookie from last year.
Okay. The name rung a bell, yeah.
Top 40 in the conference. The kid whacks it, and he's also got some freaking salty hands. Unafraid. He'll stick his nose in front of anything. Those two guys would be some names to keep your eye on, especially Anthony, because he had a bust-out season. They won the A World last year. I think he hit 765 on the season just as a rookie.
No big deal.
Not a true rookie. It was his second conference season, like his first full season. So keep an eye out on that name.
Yeah, listen, I don't care if you're 10 seasons in or 2 seasons in. Like 765 is a number, bro. That's a number.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah. So last one here, and I'm gonna let you go. We'll have to reconvene. So favorite all-time bat. You got to take your brand loyalty out of this. A little bit. Like what's the one bat? Like if you couldn't swing anything ever again besides that one bat, what are you grabbing?
To date, it was the Mike and Freak 12.
Ooh, okay. I wasn't ready for that answer.
Every bat I've done since, whether it be with Mike and Worth, Boombo, when we did the 12-inch there, every bat, even as most recently was Anarchy, that 12-inch half-ounce end load with that stiff handle. That was it for me. Like when I put that bat in my hands, I felt like I could do no wrong.
Yeah, everybody's got that one bat. It's like the confidence booster. I was a big Freak 12, Freak 30 guy for years. I couldn't go anywhere without one sometimes.
Well, and I'm just gonna I can't say too much, but stay tuned. Monsta
Okay.
24, you're gonna see something you haven't seen out of them before, and I have a feeling that we're gonna be having the same conversation next year, and that bat of choice will change because I'm just telling you that we've got something coming that I think everybody's going to be losing their minds over. I'll say it's an advanced player series, and that's all I'll say.
Okay. Yeah. We'll roll with that then.
Yeah.
I was going to go somewhere with the bat thing too, and I can't remember where because I'm a squirrel. Oh, man. Oh, wait. Bat weight. That's always a big one I like to ask. We never got to it. I always forget that. So, like,
Yeah.
what are we thinking? Are we thinking like 28s or still the play, or like more people are swinging 24s and 25s, and like, what's your thought here?
Well, my daughter needs a bowl, so hold on just a second.
Well, you better get her a bowl. Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, you'd go do that.
I found myself in the latter part of my career swinging 28s. That's just what I felt comfortable with. I like to feel the weight of a bat in my hands, but I'm not a handsy swinger. I'm not a flick of the wrist guy, right? I swing with more violent, I rip the bat through the zone. So
Sure.
that light bat just doesn't feel good to me. So I'm a 28. I've gone back and forth between 28s and 27s, but I just feel comfortable with 28. I feel like I can actually swing not as hard, if that makes any sense.
Oh, 100%.
And let the technology do the work. I feel like if you're swinging a 24 or 25 ounce bat, you got to swing the hell out of it to get any kind of velocity because there's no momentum behind it.
Yeah, and I feel very strongly in that as well. I get more bat speed, bro. Well, listen, something that's going faster is harder to control. That's my big thing with it.
Here's the thing. Let's just say you take a 1-ton vehicle and you run it into a brick wall, and you take a half-ton vehicle and you run it into a brick wall. I mean, the 1-ton vehicle is going to cause more damage.
Yeah.
There's more weight.
Right.
Now, there is the equation of hand speed that has to meet the mass at the same time. So if you're not strong enough to get the heavier bat through the zone, then it becomes counterproductive.
Sure.
However, if you have 90-mile-an-hour hands and you're swinging a 26-ounce bat, you're leaving some on the table.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree.
You could add that extra 2 ounce. This is the other thing that drives me nuts when people want to argue about hand weight and in load.
Thank you.
And all these things. Like, listen, if I told you that this was the only bat that you could play with, you'd find a way to freaking figure it out.
Right.
I've gone to home run derbies, and people throw their bats at me like, "Oh, watch, he won't be able to hit it out with this." And wow, here, throw me another one. And I mean, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it might take a little adjustment, but here's the truth. If I walked up to you and you held your hand out and I put a quarter ounce in the end of your hand, you're not going to be able to tell if that's a quarter ounce. And if I put a half ounce in this hand, which one's the difference? You're not going to be able to.
Right.
To get so fixated, get so like mind warped over a half an ounce of weight. Like, come on.
The big thing, like, I'm a big strong mental game guy. Like, you got to be confident in yourself. So like, I feel like when we're scaling bats and we're trying to find, Oh, you lost me, didn't you?
Nope. I'm
okay.
here.
Okay. So, when we're scaling bats and trying to figure out where the balance points are and how much is here and how much is there, all we're doing is finding ways to make excuses. Like, if you don't like how the bat swings,
I agree with that.
just get a different bat. Don't try to find, okay, well, I need a 27 in that bat and a 26 in this bat. No, just get something different. People get so bound into thinking they need one bat. There's like you said, the market is saturated with bats right now.
There's no shortage of options out there.
No.
Like, stop. Listen, if I could just teach anybody one thing, stop weighing your bats. Like,
yes,
pick your bat up, go swing it. And if it feels heavy or it feels light, you will adjust.
Right.
And if you don't like it, pick another bat. There's something out there for you. And if you can't find anything out there that fits your swing, again, you're playing the wrong sport. There's something out there for you. But the minute you start counterweighting your bats and figure out balance points and all these other things, you're already beat, man. You're beat. You're done. Because immediately it's the bat weight, it's the handle weight, it's the end load, it's the this, it's the that. It's never the freaking operator, right? It's always
It's one thing I love. Somebody will come slam a bat down or sling a bat back, or they'll make an out. So they go grab a different bat out of their bag for the next at bat. Like, no, listen, it wasn't the bat's fault. Don't be mad.
Yeah.
Don't kick your bat back into the dugout. Like, kick yourself back into the dugout, bro. Like,
yeah, that's where as a pitcher you go, oh, got a new bat. Got a new bat.
Yeah, new bat, new me. I always say. Yeah, let me hear you say it. I'll But
Yeah.
it's the mind game thing. But we're squirreling here. Listen, this was awesome. It might be the longest podcast to date.
Well, cool, man. We set a record.
Yeah. So we get probably sit here and talk all night. My wife's probably like, oh my God, will you shut up so I can go to bed? So it sounds like you got cereal to be made too. I'm glad I'm not the only one that has a kid that just wanders the house all night. Like,
oh yeah, she runs things, man. We just live here.
Yeah.
But, listen, man, thank you so much for having me on, and I appreciate it. And anytime I can be of help or contribute to the show or what have you, don't hesitate to reach out. If you want to shoot me a message on some guys to queue up, I'll make them participate.
Yeah, make him participate, he said.
No, they'll do it. They'll do it willingly. I'm telling you, Taylor Albright and Ryan Tomasi, get those guys on your show, man. You will freaking lose your mind. I mean, you're gonna have side stitches for days. But yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it, and look forward to an awesome 2024.
Yeah, man, it was awesome. Really appreciate your time. We're gonna sign off here at BP Hero Podcast Season 9, Episode number 1, with Leaf Nimmo, and we'll do it again. We'll do it again soon, my friend. See you, man. All right, that was a production, ladies and gentlemen. That was a lot of fun. Can't believe that podcast went 2 hours, and now we're on 2 hours and 16 minutes now. That was so awesome. Thanks to everybody for stopping in and checking this thing out. This was an absolute blast. Again, thanks to Leaf. He's got kids crawling over the house, needing him for everything, and my wife's beating down the door over here, so thanks to her too. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Swing hard in case you hit it. We're going to have Leaf back on, though, no doubt about it. We'll have to have him back on. So with that said, swing hard in case you hit it. BP Hero, catch you in the next episode.